Boom! I pressed the wrong button. There, boom. We are back. Welcome to the Culture Crusade, and look who has joined us. It's Lit Dev. Lit Dev, good to see you, mate. And,
yeah, well, I'm back. I've returned.
And we also have Raging Rider. How are you, mate? Rhino, I can't hear you. Where are you, mate?
No, he's gone.
He's gone.
Oh, sorry, yeah. I thought the intro went longer than that.
There we go.
Well, I was going to flashcast, man, where the intro lasts for 20 minutes.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
Exactly. It's just quick, and we dived right into it, but it's good to have you, mate.
Thanks for having me. Yes, I'm on leave from work for 2 weeks, so I've got a little bit of time on my hands. And
let's go, because Rhino, in case you guys don't know, he's a fellow Aussie, right? Yes. Not only that, he lives in the same state as me. We've hung out, man, and like, remember when you came down to watch Deadpool and Wolverine?
Yep.
There's a video with Rhino in person in the studio right here.
Yep.
Now, you'd think that would mean our, like, time scale things line up better. But Rhino...
I work full time. So
yeah, Rhino's really an adult. Difficult. He has a 9 to 5. He's got his mouth to feed and his home to pay and all that stuff. And so, unfortunately, when we're doing the stream, is usually working, but not at the moment. Not at the moment.
No. So I'm free for a chat. We're going to talk some Spider-Man, which is going to be fun.
We are yes, Spider-Man is the main topic of the conversation on 2 fronts. There's going to be 2 main points of discussion, but not everyone is here yet. People kind of trickle in. And so what we usually do here is tackle some smaller topics, some interesting, weird kind of things that happen here and there before we get to the main meat of the day. And so a couple of just like random things that, we'll see where it takes us. But this is an interesting, like, stupid little thing. But it turns out, like, 10 years ago, Apple made a really brave stance against gun violence, and I think we should. It's just worth remembering the impact that this had on the world and how much it helped everyone out.
And I think a brave stand, and I'm going to say that I'm against bad things and I'm for good things.
Well, this was this was such a significantly bad thing that Apple replaced the gun emoji with the water pistol.
I remember this too. Yeah,
we used to have guns emoji, Shad.
Yeah, I like guns are fun. They're cool, but no, that's implying violence. So let's replace it with a water pistol.
I don't understand, because even though you're replacing it with a water pistol, you can still convey the exact same message that you would with the gun.
Yes,
using the water pistol emoji. It's so stupid.
It is one of the most vacuous, pointless virtue signals, right? That is so utterly meaningless.
Of all time, yeah.
Achieves nothing.
It does infantilize everybody, though.
Well, that's a whole nother topic right there. The infantilization of everyone, the coddling, like that like idea that you can't treat or hold people to, account if they're like what, but even if they're 18 or 21, people are like, this is still just a child. You can't really take him seriously. And like, in some mental capacities, well, not even mental, mature capacity, I think there's a lot of so-called adults that have the maturity of children, but that's not an excuse. That's an indictment. That's a criticism, right? And they still should be held to account for the stupid things they say and do.
I want to ask a person who was offended by the gun emoji and ask them, are you no longer offended by the water pistol emoji? Like, is that where you're at?
I brought it back already. Elon should have had Twitter with the gun emoji.
Well, this seems to have been related and stems out of the whole, victimhood narrative, the outrage culture, where there was like a big push to validate every single person's offense. They're offended by clapping. So what do you have to do? Like jazz hands or some.
Oh yeah, I remember that. There was like because of like some people had like some sort of like a mental illness or whatever. Don't clap; it's too offensive. You gotta do jazz hands. You gotta snap or something like that, like you're a beatnik. By the way, I just checked. Elon does have a gun.
It was offensive to deaf people. That's what it was offensive to.
Yeah, that's right. Because deaf people can't.
Deaf people can't hear you clap, so you got to do the
to make sure you can participate.
it's such a bizarre thing. Now it still exists, it's still around, but not as much as it used to be. Like it got so crazy where it was a combination of two really extreme kind of ideological positions where victimhood narrative, like if you could claim that you're getting emotionally distressed by anything, clapping, not being referred to by the correct pronouns, getting triggered by literally anything, what was it like there was the narrative, the sexist thing that feminists would call things internalized misogyny or something like that, where people were being sexist without being overtly sexist. They would invent it and they would say that's triggering because you're being sexist, like manspreading. Well, they would invent things to be offended by so they could claim to be a victim, right? And that's them social currency, and they knew that they would do it. And so that was the one side of this ideological thing. And the other side that it empowered were the virtue signalers. The people could say, oh, I'm on your side. I will not trigger you. And I will attack viciously anyone who dares is offending you or triggering you because I'm such a virtuous person.
I mean, the mansplaining thing was insane because they would go like, well, I don't want to lift my arms up because I have boobs. Like your boobs are on your chest. They were kind of giving the excuse that as if their boobs were like under their armpits or something. Like, well, I don't have to lift my arms up the entire time or spread my arms out because like your arms are not naturally over your boobs. Like
that's why chivalry is dead as well.
Yeah, like it has ruined so many things.
Because you could open the door for an actual lady or an actual woman; she'll appreciate it, walk through, no problem. You could open the door for somebody else, and they're like, "I can do it. I can do it myself. I'm a woman." Well, like you don't know.
Yeah. Well,
so
no joke.
You're better off just not trying.
Even worse, we have like brave individuals stepping in to incapacitate really violent people threatening others, and because either the violent person that they detained either died or were injured, right? The person who actually protected other people's lives get charged and sent to jail. What was the
George Floyd name? The George Floyd one?
No. There was Pettibone or something like that. It was on the train where this deranged person was lashing out, threatening violence, everything like that. And so some guy came in, put him in a chokehold to detain him to stop him from hurting people. I think the guy ended up dying who got choked out though. And so he got charged with attempted murder or something like that, when in the context, like this guy is actually trying to save other, and the person he detained, crazy, unhinged, ready to murder people level insanity. Daniel Penny. Thank you. It was Daniel Penny.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
And so what happened is like all that is going to teach most people in the world, men, don't help other people. Don't get involved. Don't stop violent crazies because you'll probably just get strung up for stepping in now. Like, oh man, it's getting bad, right?
Yeah.
And so,
the more people, start to fear the backlash from other people, the less responsibility that they take in even just like jumping in and helping a woman out that's being, let's say, harassed on a train or something like that. None of that happens anymore because everybody's just too afraid of the consequences and being seen in a bad light. So they'd rather just not do anything at all. And that's a shame because
it's not good for society. Like it means like they're conditioning men to not step in and protect the weak or the innocent.
Not be men.
And to not be men, exactly. And that is going to be disastrous in the long run. And that whole combination, it was one of those chemical combinations that fed off each other, where it was the victimhood narrative with the virtue signalers combining their powers together to push this ideological practice to insanity. It spread. Like I even had an unhinged feminist crazy woman attack me on a plane for manspreading when my legs were as wide as the line of my shoulders.
Within the confines of your seat.
Yes, exactly. Not extending outside of the confines of my seat, and she attacked me for manspreading.
Yeah,
and I basically told her to go jump. right?
Yeah.
But she was unhinged. She had to get change seats. She had to call and it was actually kind of funny. She called the flight attendants saying, this man's spreading. I need a new seat. And the flight attendant looks at me and I'm sitting just naturally. My legs are not crazy. They're just normal line on my shoulders. And the flight attendant looked at me, could see I'm doing nothing wrong.
Yeah.
You should just take like a horse stance the entire time.
Sorry, what?
You should just take it like a horse stance the entire time.
Yeah, right. And really push it. Really push it. Like these insane people exist, unfortunately, in the world. And it seems like a lot of things were just there to appease the outrage mob, like that gun emoji. That was like, no rational person would ever think that's going to have any, positive effect on gun violence in the world. It's retarded, okay? But they did it to appease people who get triggered by gun, like the image of a gun.
Remember the black box thing? Remember how I don't know, I forgot which one it was, what event it was. All the celebrities tweeting out black boxes. We ended racism. I tweeted out a black box, right? Just like support Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Probably.
Like, oh, look, you defeated racism because you tweeted out a black box. Way to go.
What about the I Take Responsibility video?
Oh, yeah. That was fantastic. I take responsibility. It was so stupid.
Man, virtue signaling is such a problem, right?
It was easy. They don't have to take responsibility for anything.
What song were they singing?
Oh, yeah. Imagine. It was Imagine.
Imagine, that's it.
Vapid nonsense that achieves no good at all, but it's just screaming to the world, I support you, I'm a good person, think of me as a good person, right? And it actually goes against a very traditional Christian teaching about when you do good, don't shout it from the rooftops. Like there are literal scriptures in the Bible where, Christ is teaching when is it like your one hand is doing something, don't show the other hand. And he attacks the scribes and Pharisees for praying on the corners to be seen by men. And he says they have their reward, but when you do good, do it in secret. Okay. That the virtue of the good deed itself is its own reward. All right. And that's interesting because that's kind of the principle I try to, because that should be the guiding thing. When you do good, you don't promote it and anything. And I could share examples from my own life about the things that I do that no one knows about, because I don't do it for the credit or the praise. I do it because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So
it makes me think about those videos of people that go and buy, 100 meals for the homeless.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing it on camera, all this kind of thing, but like it might give them the ability to do it more, like with the money that they make from the revenue, but they are actually showing their good deeds.
Yeah, like
it out there. It makes me wonder.
That one is an interesting topic when people are actually legitimately doing a self-sacrificing good deed itself, right? And making like a video on it. That one, I'm of two minds, because again, I don't think you should promote the good things for your own credit. But if you're doing something to show or inspire people to do similar things, and that can touch people's hearts, I'm like, I see a point for that. For that. And so, yeah.
I guess that depends though on the intent of the person making the video, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Am I doing this so that I can make massive money and people can see how nice I am and how good I am?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I just doing this to, be able to help more people?
Exactly right. All right, let's that was just one of the interesting things that crossed my feed that is always worth a bit of a discussion, a recap on, because the world has gone crazy. It was like, are we getting better? Where are we now? Don't really know yet. We'll wait and see. Because in some ways, I think we're a little better, but in other ways, I think we're worse. And I see the world kind of dividing even more. And so
I think we're in a way worse place than when I was growing up.
I think we're kind of headed into a way where, we're being more divided, but the division is between normal people and socialists. That's what it seems like that's ramping up here in the US with all these the dividing lines, like, whoa. I don't like Trump, but I hate socialism. So people are kind of leaving that sort of thing. It's pretty interesting.
The left have gone so far left that there's been so many mask off moments where their agenda is just blatantly on display, and it's like almost impossible to deny. Where there's
they still find a way to, though, Shad. They still find a way to deny it.
this reminds me of this meme that I saw this week, and it is worth sharing as a result, because we're at this stage so many times, like feminists has said, it's not about equality, it's about power. They just want, to oppress men the way they perceive or think women have been oppressed in the past, when oftentimes it's a completely false narrative and report of history of what it was in the past. Like, there was an interesting one that I saw this week where people were claiming that women weren't allowed bank accounts and in the past. And it's like, no,
that's untrue.
It was untrue. What it was is that they weren't allowed. They were oftentimes denied credit or loans, but they had bank accounts. They were allowed businesses. But you know why they were often denied bank accounts or loans? Because, and they're talking about married women here, is because the husband would be liable for the debt, not her, right?
Yeah, and so they would lend to him because he would be liable. The wife could not be made liable. Yeah, so they couldn't sue her or anything.
If she defaulted on the loan, they wouldn't be able to recoup the loss based on assets or house or anything like that. And so men carried that burden and financial responsibility. So as a result, women didn't get,
which, going by how how everyone talks now, especially how women talk about men now, is like, wouldn't they prefer that? I think they would like that better. They would prefer, I'm pretty sure they'd prefer not getting sued, not getting chased down by the bank, and having the man shoulder all the burden for their loans.
Well, one of the reasons why women couldn't vote in the past, they weren't eligible for the draft. Okay. And like, what's the take? Would you rather, be safe from being sent off to the meat grinder in war, and not vote, or vice versa? And like, there was a give and take in the past that modern day feminists just like to ignore. And so they've come out so often in the modern day about their hypocrisy and double standards. And then same with not just feminists, like the whole extreme left, they've just like said, yeah, I'm a communist. What of it, right? And so it really has reminded me of this meme right here. Everybody knows I don't eat sheeps. In fact, I eat way less sheep than anybody else. I have a fabulous relationship with sheep. And there are the sheep. He'll protect us from the sheep eaters.
These are American. There's a lot of these Democrat American voters now. Like, oh yeah, obviously he's telling the truth. Why? Well, didn't he just eat a sheep in front of us? Don't be a bigot. All right.
Yeah, don't be like yeah. It's been that blatant though at times. It's like they're not like bringing over all these immigrants to siphon or produce more votes for them at all and give them handouts to and also to try and replace different demographics. They're not doing that. You look at the border, all these immigrants, when they try and instill like voter ID, there's something so basic. Just let's find out if the people voting in our elections are actual citizens of our country. Wouldn't that be a good idea? Let's put it to a vote. Nearly all Democrats vote against it. It's right here,
Okay, I have nothing to hide. You can look in my house. Don't look at that behind that door, though. Not behind that door.
Exactly.
That's one room you can't look inside, okay?
They lie to your face that they're not doing the exact thing that they show them doing constantly. And so this little comic strip is depressingly accurate, unfortunately.
Also, like speaking of we had the Odyssey was a big topic, but then the feminism was on sheer display there too. Because I think I said before that Menelaus actually forgave Helen. He didn't mark her up, which I'm pretty sure they added in here because Menelaus was white and she was black in the movie, so that they can say, oh look how abusive white men are. But Menelaus forgave Helen in the original Odyssey, and one of the reasons why the Greeks were cursed on the way back is because Ajax, the lesser, no, I don't think the actual Ajax, but the other Ajax, dragged in Cassandra and raped her in the Athenian temple. And Athena got really perturbed by that. She wasn't very happy. And so when and also the Greeks were angry at that. The Greeks wanted to punish him, but he ran to cover in another temple, and they didn't want to desecrate the temple to get him. So, and anger that god. So that's the reason why they held off, because Ajax the Lesser ran from his fellow Greek to escape punishment, but they wanted to punish him. That was it. So this whole thing about, it's misogynistic, the old stories are too anti-women. No, the Greeks would have that. They saw that the assault of Cassandra is wrong, but by the time he came out of the temple, everyone's like, you know what? We're just going to go home. And so they didn't end up punishing him, which made Athena very angry. Like, why aren't you punishing this guy? So when it came down to petitioning Zeus for revenge on the Greeks for winning the Battle of Troy, she actually joined the side of Apollo, Aphrodite, and Ares, and was a convincing voice to go, Dad, we need to send a storm their way. These Greeks need to be punished. And then Zeus is like, all right, fine. And then 10 years later, it's like, Dad, why isn't Odysseus home yet? But you told me to curse them. Dad, it was like 10 years ago.
It is actually interesting, just all on that, the original tale versus the modern subversion. And yeah, the current Odyssey, the Christopher Nolan's Odyssey, is such subversive woke slop, right? That the agenda is blatant to be seen, but people are denying it. 10 out of 10 film, all that stuff. And a lot of it, I think, are people that are totally in support of that agenda. That's their side, but they don't want people to know that this subversion is happening, and so they deny it. They just pretend, no, it's not happening. There's nothing woke in that film. Though what's interesting, because the Odyssey is doing so well, there's another side who are like, yes, it's woke and it's a good thing. Suck it, guys. And it's like,
it wasn't
so you're admitting it. You're admitting that it's insanely woke. Yeah.
Oh, it's a success. Well, it's woke. It was woke.
See, get woke, go broke is wrong. And I'm like, oh, so you admit it's woke. Thank you. We've been saying this the entire time. You've been trying to say, no, it's not woke. Nothing bad is happening here. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And it's that strategy of deflection and denial so that wolf can get into the sheep pen.
Well, they forget their last argument as well. So obviously now this new argument contradicts their last argument, but they forget about that one.
Also, they had this whole idea that men are bad and everything, and which is it's not nearly any point in the Odyssey men bad. That's a modern day Hollywood thing. If anything, the Odyssey could easily just also be a story about how women are bad, disloyal, conniving, straight up evil. Like Calypso just fell in love with Odysseus and purposely kept him on her island out of selfish reasons. Circe is malicious. Like this, Helen was disloyal to her husband and caused 10 years of conflict. Like it could very easily be geared towards women are awful.
That concept, right? That what if Helen was the one, in the wrong battle? But there are multiple angles that you could look at it. But of course they don't want to look at anything either nuanced or even what the original tale was talking about. They want to subvert it, put it into this modern woke agenda, which now their side is freely admitting. Because they know what's going on. They know. Well,
this is the thing, though, that I was sort of saying before we started. I don't know whether or not the wokeness or the messaging or whatever is actually creeping out, or whether or not they're actually just getting smarter in the way that they're putting it in. We get a black Helen of Troy, we get a trans actor in the Odyssey. And everybody's like, oh, it was 5 minutes. It means nothing to the story. It doesn't do anything. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, see, woke, go woke, go broke doesn't exist. Blah. Like the contradictions in their argument. But then I even look at something like Toy Story 5, for example. Now, I know that there's a lot of people out there that didn't like Toy Story 5, but I've spoken to a lot of normies, and one of those normies being my best mate. He took his boys to go and see it. And I'm like, oh, what'd you think of it? And he's like, oh, no, I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it was fine, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, interesting. Like, you don't see the fact that Buzz Lightyear walking down the aisle, and then when he kisses Jessie or whatever, putting his leg up like the woman would normally put their leg up, is just subliminal messaging for your kids, so that when they get to school, these things are actually already okay, and then they can indoctrinate your kids even more. You just don't see that because you're the normies out there. You don't pay attention to all of this stuff that's going on. I think that despite all of that, Hollywood's still getting smarter in the way that they're putting it in. And it was basically sort of, I will probably get into it with the Spider-Man thing, but I've noticed a little bit of it in there as well. But just the Odyssey, that whole argument, like that's nearly crossed $1 billion if it hasn't already, right?
Oh, it will though. It's making bank. It is earning.
Fucking, have you seen Spider-Man cross $1 billion?
It's close. Like I thought it was either.
I just saw a report on Twitter just not too long ago saying it's crossed $1 billion. It hasn't even hit its second weekend yet. It's crossed $1 billion.
We will talk about that because that's its own topic. But we don't want to get to.
But that Toy Story 5 thing kind of pissed me off because everybody was saying, "Oh, it's all right, it's a good movie, it's okay, it's fine, it's blah blah blah." And then I hear all of these other things. I haven't seen it, but then I hear all of these other things that are going on within the story, and it's like, have we missed the fact that they're still putting this shit in there, all this messaging in there, without like, I don't know, necessarily blatantly putting it in there?
Yeah. Well, let's.
They're not so secret. They're not so secret. Gay agenda is still there.
Oh yeah. Because this brings us to another kind of topic in the discussion, which is that these ideologues, these activists that have infested both gaming, Disney, media, Hollywood, all that stuff, right? They are still there. And even though there has been massive, and I mean massive bombs like Supergirl, like Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny, like Concord, like Dustborn, and all like again and again, these insanely overtly woke subversive pieces of crap media, right, have failed dramatically. And it seems like only a couple people, maybe some executives ahead, figured out that this woke stuff isn't really that popular. Let's try and reel it back. And so we got reports about like that Inside Out #2 movie, that they made it very clear that they needed to have the main female character unambiguously straight, even though she's still a minor and everything like that. And it's weird to even talk about that. But they wanted to queer code this underage character because of representation, stuff like that. And so the people in the company wanted to do that, but some executive head vetoed it. And so that doesn't mean that there's actual change within the industry. It's only a few people are starting to see it's not really profitable, but all the activists are still there. And what you were saying, Ryan, it seems like they might be trying to make it a little bit more subtle, a little bit more under the radar. And they want to see what they can get away with. And, you know, like, but there are signs everywhere. There are signs everywhere. Did you guys see like this floating around X? Have you seen this clip? And so this is the new Halo game.
Yeah.
Okay. And someone decided to test something where I forget which part in the game. I think it's early on, right? Where you can actually kill some of these people at the consoles, and he discovers something. So he goes up. That person was like immune. Couldn't die. Okay.
Also, what do you mean these people, Shad?
These people. Well, we'll find out what's the dividing kind of thing. That one, but immune. Whoa, that one dead instantly. What was different about him versus the other two?
It's like a man.
He looked like a man. And yes,
really.
That Righto, hasn't it? Like your reaction is priceless. Yeah, righto.
So you can only kill men, right?
You can only kill the male NPCs, but the female NPCs are immune. I'm not joking.
That's ridiculous.
And yep,
idealizing violence against men.
But like, wow. So what are they trying to say by this? You know, it's like
that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. Like, what a waste of programming time. Oh, you can kill these ones, but you go like that is so ridiculous.
Yeah. Now,
the studio that makes Halo, who is that? You fucking paid someone to program the game so that you could kill male NPCs and not kill female NPCs, and you paid somebody to do that.
Sorry, this comment. Oof.
Yeah, someone on staff had to know what a woman was, right?
Yeah.
Just before you walk up to one of the NPCs, he turns around and goes, "No, I'm a trans woman. I'm a woman."
Yeah, and so Moeller tested this, and he actually found you could eventually kill some of the female NPCs, and either their hitbox is much larger and he snuck through, or the female NPCs have a much higher hit point bar, and so that you can't kill them as easily.
So why you got to shoot them multiple times?
Yeah, like heaps of times. And so, but the effect is still the same. They're protecting the female NPCs, and the male NPCs, like, oh, you can kill them. They're disposable. They're nothing. Like, and what are they trying to say by this? Like, there are layers to this where it's just like, what is it? Because are you trying to say that you think if you allow violence to be committed against female NPCs, that's going to mean, you know, people will be less violent against women in the real world, when they don't understand that the victims of violent crime are, like, in orders of like quantity, vastly more men. Men are victims of violent crime in orders of magnitude more than women. Violent crime across the board. Okay. Because even male criminals are more ready and willing to be violent against men than they are to women. I'm not saying women don't get injured in violent crime, but on the scale, people are still more reluctant to be like aggressively violent against women than they are against men. But no, because like the feminist narrative is that it's worse when a woman gets injured to the same level as a man, and a woman deserves more. And from the old chivalric ideal, because women are more vulnerable and less able to protect themselves, you can understand that there is more sympathy to the more vulnerable. Okay, that's a normal instinct, but men should deserve sympathy as well. Like, because remember the outrage that happened when Red Dead Redemption came out? I think it was number 2. There was this feminist woman in the game, and people started posting clips of them killing this feminist woman.
Yeah. Tying her up, hog-tying her, getting her eaten by alligators.
Dragging her to the bayou, feeding her to alligators and everything. Because everyone hated this preachy feminist in the game. And feminists were outraged. They were like, this is violence against women. Ignoring, like, most of the people that are getting killed in the game are male characters, male NPCs. But no, the outrage is because of these comedic ones done to this preachy feminist in the game. And so it's like, were they trying to avoid stuff like that? It's like, because, you know, violence against men, fine. Violence against women, that's problematic. And it's like,
but just make them all
immune. Sorry, what? What would do?
Just make them all immune then.
Yeah, that's an answer. But that affects gameplay and immersion. They got to let some characters die, because I mean, it's a violent video game meant for like action and killing and stuff. And so, but violence against women is bad. So we'll just make them more immune or more high hit points or something like that.
I mean, just make them all immune. I mean, in that room, I'm pretty sure it's weird that Master Chief is just going around killing his own people. So
yeah,
just make them all immune.
Well, that's the weird thing. The game devs obviously knew that some players are going to do this. Some players, just because it's a fake game, they know it's not real, they decide, I'm gonna, role play as an evil character, knowing that it's not real, and just kill everyone.
Didn't they do something like that in GTA 6, or with something coming out with GTA 6? Didn't I hear something about like the Pride Parade or something? You couldn't.
Oh, really? I hadn't heard that.
Or maybe people were doing it. I don't know. I heard something that
that's what I heard, is that they might have pride parades in GTA 6, and then the pro gay people were like, yes, and the anti-gay people were like, yes.
Yeah.
And I could see them doing that, like making them invulnerable. And like games have kind of done this in different. So in most of the recent Fallout games, you can't kill children, and they make children immune. Mods come out to try and fix that, but then they get banned and other things. And so the point is, gamers, they test the limits in the game on everything. And so the game devs obviously were aware of that and thought, well, I don't know, they don't want to restrict player freedom too much, so we'll just make the women more immune, because obviously there's an ideology and a double standard at play, and you see it. Like, we're talking about things that they try and hide under the radar. This is like not as overt as like blatant kind of sexism, though they've shared some clips about some girl boss characters in that game which just look awful. But then there's that subtle stuff, the stuff that's kind of under the radar a bit, that still gets seeped in, because these companies are still filled with these activists. And so
100%, until you drain the swamp of like these people out of the, it's like people are going to laugh at me, with Star Wars. Nothing's changed with Star Wars because the people that are there, like, positions moved, fucking people moved up. The same people are there. The same people that wanted to do what they've wanted to do are still doing the same things. Nothing's going to change unless you get somebody into these places that actually want to tell good stories within those universes. And actually, you know, I don't necessarily think that a person needs to be a fan of the thing, but if they go into it, they certainly need to start learning. You can't just go in. Like these writers or producers or directors, whatever, that go into these IPs and they say that they're fans, but they're not really fans. They don't really look into it or anything like that. The point that I'm trying to make is that I don't feel like these people need to come in and necessarily be fans. But if they do come into these things, they need to learn the lore and they need to learn at least the basic understanding of how the universe works, whether it be Star Wars or Star Trek or Doctor Who or, you know, Marvel or DC or whatever. They need to actually have some kind of understanding of, you know, the universe.
I think sometimes they do, but then they want to subvert it for their own agenda, or they like, ooh, that's problematic. Because Wheel of Time is a great point of reference where that world has an overt sex-based magic system where the magic is different between men. There are actually two sexed sides, gendered sides of the magic, where there's this magic with two halves. One is Sidine, one is Sidar. Each side has its own strengths. One is can be more destructive in the destructive powers like fire and earth, and one side is more powerful in the spiritual powers like spirit and air and water and stuff. And that's the feminine side. And so because that is actually implying a gender binary, right? They were aware that that existed because they changed it in the live action adaptation, where the gendered side of the magic doesn't exist in the live action because that was problematic. And so even when they learn about the world, they want to change it because, again, virtue signaling, don't want to trigger people that be offended. Like, what do you mean the magic is implying a gender binary? What if I don't identify as either? And it's like, man, classic Wheel of Time, I've got the series there, based as hell. Because what would happen in the Wheel of Time, doesn't matter what gender you identify with. If you're a biological male, bam, you're using that magic side. If you're a biological woman, boom. And the only way to like subvert that is an act of the devil in the world, which upends the course of creation and puts a female soul inside a male's body. And in the book, that is literally impossible unless the devil of the world subverts creation.
Yeah.
Based. Because
see, it's like you said, they need to now change that.
Only the devil can make trans people.
That's like Wheel of Time. I'm not kidding, right? It happens in the book where the devil puts the soul of a man inside a woman's body, and he still is only able to use the male half of the power. And so it throws people off because as a woman, appearing as a woman, he sneaks into, you know, the Aes Sedai camp, and they can't detect him using magic because it's using the male half. And so,
is Rhino drunk already? No, I'm not drunk. Was I not making sense? I was making sense.
You're making sense. But they'll try and subvert as much as they can. And I think Rhino, you're right. They're going to try and be more subtle about it, not overt. And will it work? Will it not? It depends, because we're seeing something really interesting with.
Well, they seem to think that it's working. Well, they seem to think that it's working because look at the box office. We own the charts. Blah 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 blah.
Well, Spider-Man Brand New Day is not.
So they will learn the wrong they will learn the wrong lessons.
It's not overtly woke, but a good chunk of the problems come from, I guess, what would you call it? Like woke effects. Like there's a trail on effect that if that people of this mentality have it, even small things down the trail will usually happen. And we're going to talk about one of the bigger problems later in the show about the fact that the villain of the show is basically irredeemably evil, but the movie believes that you can just sympathize with it and understand why. That is a down the river effect of feminist woke ideology. That is, but it's not blatant and overt in terms of people saying, yeah, like, remember the Batman where Catwoman says, you know, you're just something about white privilege, white boy, or something like that, where it's a slap in the face. Ant-Man, Quantumania, where it's like, I know socialism is a charged word, but we could really learn a thing or two about how the way these ants work, right? That like that is like overt, explicit woke ideology in film, where now they want to push it under the kind of expressed overt thing. And the example of when it's like drowning in that ideology, but not overtly on the surface, is Supergirl. Supergirl, from start to finish, is a feminist power fantasy slop piece of crap, right? It is really, really bad. And as a result, the film is really, really bad. But the woke is very infused into that film, just not blatantly on the surface. And so what if it's more subtle? Now, is that like a bad thing? Yes, but at the same time, if it's so subtle that no one's even noticing it, will it have an effect? There's going to be a discussion on that, even though I think you can identify certain things in Spider-Man Brand New Day. The Odyssey is more explicitly woke because of what the agenda was behind that. But we will get into that discussion.
We have more movies like Wonder Woman 2009, where it does have the moment where it's like, she's just, oh, men are pigs and they're evil. And then the love interest guy, it was Trevor or something like that, goes, you know what? Shut up. Okay, listen here.
Well, it's interesting. You go back to something like you go back to something like Stargate SG-1, the beginning of that, when Sam shows up, how sexist Jack is towards her. Well, you could say sexist, or you could say that he's just concerned. And then over time, she proves herself, and Jack won't have it any other way. Like it's like, just in that alone, it was a really good. People would go back and watch that now, and I don't know, the people that would get offended by Jack's reactions to Sam coming in.
If you want to see some like old school stuff where people were just honest about the differences in the gender, I like a couple years ago, but recent enough that I remember me rewatching it, right? The Swiss Family Robinson. Now, if you don't know, this is an old school Disney film about a family that gets marooned on a tropical island and make this remarkable tree house to live in with all these fun kind of things. Pirates come on the island and have to fight them off. That's the Swiss Family Robinson. It's a classic old Disney film. You can look it up. But oh my gosh, right? Like, there's this moment where the two sons find a woman marooned on the island as well, but she is pretending to be a man. And so they treat her like a man. And they're like, this guy is useless. He can't carry his own weight. He's constantly stumbling. He's weak. He's getting afraid and everything. And they're hypercritical about this weak dude that is not matching their level of physical capacity. It's revealed then she's a woman, and she's actually kind of a cute woman. And so the guys are helping her down constantly and doing all these things. And she's admitting how weak she is as a woman and all this stuff. It's just like, people were once willing to be honest just about the differences between men and women.
That's true. So Jack didn't like her because she was a scientist, but he also thought that because she was a woman out in the field, there was elements of that too. But yes, I understand.
So,
but yeah,
this actually brings us to another small little, we'll see how small it is, topic of discussion about people can lie that there are no differences between men and women and everyone should have equal outcomes regardless of personal capacity, natural ability, biological differences, all those things, right? Because they see the world as not only unjust and unfair because people have different outcomes, there are haves and have-nots. They perceive that have-nots have been robbed by the people that have more. And that's the injustice they see. It breeds class warfare, eat the rich, all that nonsense, where they believe everyone should have equivalent outcomes. And this is the beginning kind of germ of ideology of socialism, when I say socialism, communism, and even feminism is based on this same toxic untruth that women should have exactly equal outcomes as men. And they've had the face-off moments where they've revealed, no, it's not about equality. They want women to be in power and take away every single privilege men have, give it to women, and they want men to be oppressed vastly more than women. They want to privilege women over men. So the sexism has been exposed, but there are some naive people that still think, oh, it's just about equality. But even if it's just about equality, it's still a false lie because people are different. The people who work more, right, are going to accrue more wealth, more resources than the people who are lazy. This is unfortunate. Well, it's also just reality. Like they've looked at this, people with higher IQ naturally end up earning more money than people with lower IQ. I mean, I can't really change that, but that's just a natural byproduct of how things happen. Okay. People are different. And between men and women, men have strengths that women don't, and women have strengths that men don't, which lead to them excelling in different fields, resulting in different outcomes. You can't avoid this, but the lie that this toxic ideology has been pushing for years is that is somehow an injustice, and we need to course correct, inject, social engineering, affirmative action policies to privilege those that don't achieve more in certain things than other people, which is just blatant sexism or racism or bigotry or anything like that, when you're privileging someone based on their immutable characteristics and not judging people on their merits. And so they push that, they push that, they push that. But there are some moments when reality just hits them back in the face, that you might want to pretend that everyone is the same when no, people are different. Men and women are different. And this one, this one crossed my feed. And do you want to guess what this is about, just by like kind of seeing the lead up to it?
It's almost no contest.
So this is a martial arts competition where some entitled, mouthy, overconfident woman thinks that she is going to destroy this man.
This happens a lot for some reason. It's just an unusual amount of times.
And so she, by the way, look at
and then like when they encounter some guy who's like, I'm done with this, and not actually being nice or going easy on her, it's no contest.
Wait and see. But there's interesting things to learn from even this, right? Look at how quick this woman is to physically assault her opponents, right? And he's not even
stare down as well.
At the stare down. This is very interesting. Do you know this is actually reflective of a real observable recorded statistic that women, are more likely to initiate violence against men than men are against women.
Of course, because they feel like they're a protected species. Yes, they feel like the man's not going to fight back.
Yes, that's the reason. Now, when they say that there are more victims in domestic abuse, like the victims of domestic abuse are more often women, the reason for that is that most of the domestic abuse cases against men are unreported because men get slapped by a woman, they shrug it off, push her away, end of story.
Yeah. Also, even if it did hurt, it's like, what are you going to do as a man? Like, are you going to say, exactly. My wife beat me up?
There's also that. But more often, when a woman gets slapped by a man, they end up in hospital, and it gets recorded, and they look at the statistics and go, oh, women are the victims of domestic abuse far more than men. And it's like, well, actually, when they looked at what caused, who initiated these violent encounters, women are far more likely to physically assault men for like verbal disputes and things like that than men are to physically assault women. And a lot of it comes down to is that, women have been conditioned by the understanding that men have been taught, don't hit a woman. I think we've talked about this on a previous live stream. I think there is an important truth behind that, because men are stronger. Great power come great responsibility. Spider-Man classic lesson is that, because men have the capacity to injure women far easier, we should be far more reserved and controlling of our strength. And that's the heroic ideal about controlled strength, appropriate strength. And that's why male heroism, masculine heroism and stories are so important, to teach men these principles. It's getting subverted. Feminism doing a lot to subvert that these days, where it's like, no, you must treat me exactly like a man. You don't want men to treat you exactly the way that we treat other men in like encounters like this, because when encounters like this do happen and they get treated exactly like men, it doesn't end pretty. And we'll see how this ends, right? But it's just again. Sorry, what were you saying, Rano?
I was just going to say it's a bit like, I know it's not violence, but a bit like there was the Australian female soccer team went up against some 14-year-olds and lost like 10-0 or something.
Yes, I've heard of that. Yeah. So what Rhino's referencing is a real thing. This is the National Australians Women's Soccer Team. All right. They're the best female soccer players in all of Australia. And they had a match against a group of teenage male football players, high school students,
like young teenage males, like under 14s or something like that, and got absolutely mobbed.
They got thrashed.
Yeah,
the young men thrashed them, and it's just like, again, this narrative that there's no difference between men and women, when it comes back to reality, it can bite them in the rear end. And so, what's also interesting about this, right? This psycho woman who's lashing out at him.
She just attacks constantly. She's just attacking him constantly.
Constantly. It happened multiple times.
You're really tough. You're really tough attacking this guy when he's unprepared. Yeah.
And I want to do it now. I want to fight now.
I wonder if he's actually taunting her, saying you're just like a weak woman or something like that, and it's triggering her to say. And what's interesting, right? If the roles were reversed and she said something sexist against him, no one would have thought it was appropriate for him to lash out violently.
Yeah.
But so many people just give women a free pass when they lash out violently, because there's this kind of understanding that, well, she probably is unable to actually hurt him seriously. By the way, women can, as soon as they pick up like a rock or a knife or anything like that, there's lethal damage. But in the realms of unarmed, it is actually quite hard for women to injure men if men are just doing the most basic level of, defense. Now, I love my wife. We've never had a physical altercation, never would in the future or anything.
That's what somebody would say that is an abuser.
But I'm prefacing it with the example. If my wife wanted to injure me, right, and she was unarmed, the strength difference, and I'm an average guy, she's an average woman. I know the strength difference between me and my wife, just in like picking up packages, things she struggle with, she gives it to me, and there's like nothing at all. Like the strength difference between me and my wife is shocking. It's surprised me multiple times. I don't think she'd be able to physically injure me, if even really, really trying. And if I just use one hand to hold her at bay, she's like, she's under 5 foot. She's like 4, just under 5. She's a petite, small woman. She would not be able to injure me, even if she really, really tried. The strength difference is that extreme. And of course, I've had experience in like combative kind of interests, martial arts, swordplay, everything like that. I've been in fights in the past. I know what it's like to take a hit, shrug it off, keep going, all that stuff. Like, man, I had some really aggressive kind of wrestling matches throughout my entire childhood, right? There was one guy who tried to fight me, but he didn't know how to wrestle. He only knew how to punch. And so I locked him down and got him in a submission hold. And he actually ended up begging, because I threatened to break his arm and he ended up crying. Anyway, so I got in fights. So just by that,
critics be pretty funny. Like, Chad, I read your book. I hate it. I'm going to fight you over and you win.
He picked the fight with me.
Give me a 5 star. Give me a 5 stars.
But that's my point. Like, even that background that I know, like, I've had physical altercations, right? Is like, with one hand, I could easily hold my wife at bay, and she would be incapable of hurting me. And so the difference is like that extreme, that I think a lot of women kind of think that it's okay to slap men because they kind of know that they're not going to really injure them. They can get away with it. Men aren't supposed to hit women back. And I'm not excusing them. Women should never hit men, but it happens more often than people are willing to acknowledge, because women, they end up hiding behind social protection, basically. And that's what I'm seeing here. This woman is lashing out constantly, and this guy might be taunting her, just causing her to trigger. I don't know the context, but even when she's attacking, he's smiling. Like, if you're watching, look at him. He's like, yeah, give me a break. You can't see it. Look at him. He's just like shrugging it off, right?
It's like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. All right.
I've also taken kickboxing and everything, and there are women in class, and getting hit by a woman, even at full power, is basically nothing.
Yeah.
It's nothing. You barely have to put up a guard. It is practically nothing. So
yes,
that guy is he's getting assaulted by this lady, and he is, but he's probably barely even feeling it.
So she feels so tough.
She does. Look at her. And the context, I think she's a gang member, right? And so now we come to the fight. This guy.
I will say you need to be careful when you fight women because they have no honor. They don't. Men naturally have honor because if you're seeing women fight women, it's a fight to the death. There is no.
It's not just in fighting.
Hair pulling, clawing, biting.
It's not just in fighting. They've got no honor. Like you watch some of the WNBA, they got no honor in that. In the way that they fucking.
It's always a fight to the death between women. So that's kind of why, like, this, when you fight a woman, you got to be careful. That's why, like Sam Hyde said, if it's a woman cop, be careful.
Well, this one, like, the guy basically just starts not holding back. No, like, look at how much she got rattled in that last punch, right? I don't think she's ever been hit that hard in her life. Look, just boom, and she's rattled. She's like, what the hell was that? And then look at this. He just playtime's over. Playtime's over. Just and so
he's not even defending himself. He's just
not
eating
even defending.
the
So this one, like, if this was a guy-on-guy fight, if a guy drops his defense and starts laying into him, oftentimes the defense of the guy getting hit is to lay into him back just as hard to make the guy pause, and they have to both move away before mutually assured destruction. This guy starts laying into her. She tries to start laying to him back, but she's getting rattled so hard that she ends up not being able to fight back at all. And look at this. She's boom, 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 boom. And she's like, just getting going. She can't do a thing. And smack, bang, boom, over.
Oh, what are you going to do?
Boxing is so much fun. Every man should be into some sort of martial arts. It's so much fun.
Guys, she's crying at how just severely she.
You know what happens if a guy did this, like cry like this? Everyone would mock him.
Everyone would
cry,
mock
baby.
him. Well, that's the shocking thing. Like, she got what she deserved, right? Okay, but because she's crying and she's a more vulnerable woman, people actually know this.
Like, oh, he's the bad guy now.
Starting to feel sympathy, and there's the bad.
He's the bad guy.
This happened on an Australian reality TV show. I forget what it was, but an Australian football player or something was there, and there was one of these, female athletes that was on this reality show as well, and they had a mock boxing fight, and so she wants to try and make a statement. She calls out the biggest guy there into the boxing match, and so this guy, like, he was an Aussie, comes in, and they have this mock boxing match. He doesn't hold back. He starts laying into her, right? He got criticized for attacking a woman.
Yeah, as soon as he did, that was on Survivor. That was a Survivor thing.
You saw that, Rhino?
Yep, yeah. I saw that. And as soon as he started throwing down, was it Survivor? No, sorry, it was the
I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here or something like that.
No. The SAS thing that they do.
Oh,
the SAS reality thing. Fucking yes. Yep. So there's a sportswoman. She was actually a black woman. Fucking called out one of the biggest dudes for a fight. They fought. He came in and threw down straight away. Like, just no
hesitation. He's like,
hesitation.
They go in and he went in hard as she deserved.
And as soon as he threw the first punch, like, the people on the outside are like, oh, whoa. It's like, hang on, she called me out.
Yes.
She wants to fight. I'm going to show her what you want me to just let her hit me? It's such fucking the double standard of it all. And then she was rocked by it because he came in fucking hot and heavy.
He did.
It's such bullshit.
It is. You're absolutely right. Even when the woman is like asking, calling out, acting obnoxious, being the violent one, more sympathy is usually given to the woman because men are just stronger. And if you really want a guy not to hold back, and it's nearly no contest. Now, I'm not saying like these women athletes or anything. The woman that we just saw in the MFI fight couldn't beat me. I'm not an athlete, okay? Having said that, have you seen matches between like professional female fighter versus average man, and the average guy usually wins? I've even seen fights like that. And so I don't know. Maybe I'd get beaten. Maybe I'd have a fighting chance and it'd be more on even footing, okay? But the disparity exists. And then if you pitch like against male athlete of the same level of scale versus female athlete on the same level of scale in their championship, right? And put them against each other, It's like no contest. It usually is always no contest. And reality, shockingly, plays out as you would expect. You can say that men and women are physically the same or as much as you want, and then reality hits them right in the face when they try and put it to the test, because you can't change reality. This is how it is. That's how it is. But they still want to push that narrative. I can't believe it. And then, like we talked about, when a guy actually is in his rights to not hold back, right? Men still get criticized. The double standard, man. It's all around.
Yeah. We probably can't play too much of it, but if you wanted to...
Oh, did you find it? I think this is it. Yeah. You found it, man. Yeah. Play it in small chunks and would get away with it.
Say fight, you will fight.
She knows what women can do, she's saying. Right.
Yep, she wanted to make a statement.
Men beat me in my industry anyway.
Yeah. She's like, no man is gonna beat me.
Have you seen like some of those movies where it's like this one guy thinks he's awesome, but he's like a prince, and really everyone just let him win? That's kind of what it's like here. Like all these women, like, oh yeah, I beat every man, and who comes up, steps up to me. Like they've all been letting you win. Or have you seen those no touch masters where they
yes,
keep their minds and stuff?
But on the note that you talk about, I've seen fights between men and women where women have won occasionally, and what you can see, the guy is holding back. He doesn't want to commit fully to the fight because he's fighting a girl. And what happens is that the girl is trying their hardest. He's holding back, but then they get a cheap shot in, like a lucky shot that knocks him in a vital part, that knocks him down, and they're like, I won. And it's like the guy wasn't even trying.
Because
you weren't even looking.
Mm-hmm.
You were like this.
You can get punched in your face no matter who does it, and it knocks you right out. It could definitely happen no matter who does it. So yeah, they could probably get a shot in there where you just gets the guy to collapse. Like, oh yeah, see, take that, boys. The women are coming to town. When really, he was holding him back the entire time and just not taking her very seriously.
Yeah.
Boom! That's punch, man.
It's over. It's over.
Show that
again. That rattles you. That punch like
that left jab just comes straight up and straight into her face. Like,
show
it's
again.
So funny.
Show again. He doesn't hesitate. Boom!
Oh
she
man,
wasn't ready for it.
She's gonna be offbeat the entire fight.
I know. Look at the face. Like they're like, oh, how dare he actually? And she was mouthing off. She was also confident, and so he decides, fine, I'll treat you like a guy. I won't hold back. And they're all like, oh, how dare he?
Fight back.
These guys criticize him, I'm pretty sure. Like there's bits where they let's just see. Hold on.
Number 14, Sabrina, is overpowered.
No shit.
Like in 2 seconds.
Shocking.
Like these guys are all shocked. Like, what was he supposed to do?
Yeah.
What was he supposed to do?
You heard that girl. She was so arrogant. I'm not.
Yeah.
A man's not gonna beat me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Let's go, Sabrina. Let's go. No one said speak.
Oh, so now everyone's on her side because they know she's the underdog and that she's outmatched, and they feel sorry for her, even though
isn't she an actual fighter though too? I need to look her up. She
might be. Yeah, like I know she's an athlete at least, and she picked him as her opponent, trying to make a statement.
Back there. Stand by. Fight.
Boom! Straight away again.
Boom! 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 Look at she's rattled. She's off balance.
To understand her ground, Sabrina begins to fight back.
I got to pause because this is 7 man.
Let's fighting back. She does. Let's see how she fights back.
Yeah.
Let's see. Here we go. Oh,
he
got one punch in, and he said,
"One punch."
And he didn't even like feel it. It's just like
that would be nothing. It's just that was like the wrong part of the ribs too.
Better pause it right out because we like only a couple of second clips at a time.
No, but that's it. Anyway.
Yeah, that's it. Like he barely felt that punch, man. Oh my gosh.
He probably didn't even know he got punched.
Yeah, right.
If I were a betting man, it was like he probably didn't know he had punched. He got punched.
But she fought back. She held her ground. As like, no.
The drama thing. It was like zzz, boom, like there was an epic punch. Like she dominated at the last second, but it was like it was nothing. That punch is nothing.
Yeah, it was nothing. And so That's the truth. That is actually the truth, that they can try and spout their lies as much as they like, and then reality comes back and slaps them in the face. And you can't change that. That's just going to exist. That's why I do believe their ideology is ultimately going to fail. That unfortunately, a lot of people will get deceived in the long run. And you see that. You see these old, lonely women who went for career instead of family. And at the end of their life, they're lonely and miserable. And they say, I was lied to. I got nothing.
It's either that or they turn into a Karen. Not that they weren't already a Karen, but they emphasize, like, their Karen-ness gets amplified.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But they find that they've been a lot of people have found that they've just been lied to, and then they're alone and they have nothing. They have no family around them. They have no spouse to support and love them. And now they're in their middle age or older years where it's much, much harder to find, a companion, and they're miserable, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. And, but that's, again, even though unfortunately people are going to be sucked in and their lives ruined in the process, that's ultimately going to prove this ideology false, because the lie will be exposed by the natural course of existence. So yeah, I do feel it would fail in the long run. We just got to weather the storm and keep holding on to what's true, basically.
I don't know. They could, to me, they could just be biding their time for the tide to change.
Well,
for everything to shift back, Trump to get out of office, and they get their stand-in back so that they can continue their bullshit messaging.
Well, I'm doing what I can. I speak about this stuff, try and inform people, and build security and safety for me and my family. And I'm making some progress towards that, where I want to have a property. I just want to live on that property, grow my own food, become self-sufficient and independent. And if the world goes to hell, I'll have a place of safety, and Rhino's going to come and hang out with me if
that's right. If the world goes to shit and we end up in a zombie apocalypse or even like a alien invasion, I'm going to Shad's place. He's got the biggest arsenal in Australia.
And I'm making progress towards building a self-sustaining off-grid home. Yep, we'll see. Hopefully that'll work out. But things, I'm making plans. And yeah, you're right. Hey, sure. I also got my gun license right now.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, I don't have any guns, but I got my gun license. So
that's cool.
I'm legally allowed to shoot now.
Yeah, that's awesome. But you're on a property, so you're
well,
completely different kettle of fish.
Well, so am I. I can legally shoot also. But
I know. Yeah, thanks, but I
just happen to be in Texas, so
yeah, exactly. In Australia, especially Victoria, that's an achievement. All right.
Yes, it is.
I can own 5, but you know what? Like, going through the process, there's actually legal ways that you'd be able to get. I was able to apply for it and get it, thinking because I have my property, which is what I use it for to justify it. But it turns out you can apply for a gun license to hunt vermin on Crown land, and you can live anywhere. And if you say that's the reason for you wanting to have a gun license in Victoria, that will qualify you, and you're allowed to go hunting with it, and allowed to own firearms. So there's like, the government wants to try and make it look like they have there's far more barriers to this than there really are, and that's their fear mongering. It's like with the machete ban, it was a stupid thing in Victoria where it's like, it's illegal to own machetes, you better hand them in. No criminals did. Machete crime is just as high. Utterly useless. But a lot of law-abiding Australians turned in the machetes when, if you actually looked into the law, there were multiple legal reasons in place that they could justify still owning them, but they didn't tell anyone that. They just want to say, oh no, they're illegal, hand it in. Trust us, we're doing something. We're virtue signaling that we're an effective government, even though what we're doing is achieving nothing. And you can own a machete for agricultural purposes, gardening, land maintenance. And like, as easy as that. But they didn't tell anyone that at all, because they lied to, I just can't stand it. All right, gentlemen, it's been fun talking about those topics, but let's get into the meat of the discussion. John says he's not too far away, so hopefully he'll be able to join us as well. Awesome. All right, the meat. We need to talk about Spider-Man, Brand New Day. Two topics of discussion that I want to focus on specifically. The first one, we're going to talk about the nature of open discussion question. Why is it doing so well? This film is doing insanely well. And the next topic is going to be more of the content of the film itself and some of the bigger problems. And look at the man, right on time for the topic. John, how are you?
I'm a little late for the stream, and you've already replaced me. And with another, this is getting out of hand. Now there are two of them.
No, there are two of them.
We're multiplying.
Well, now we have proper American representation at long last.
Yes, we're balanced out. Balanced as all things should be, as Thanos says.
2 + 2 = balance.
Yeah. Right. And so, John, we're going to be talking about Spider-Man Brand New Day. First, the nature as to why it's doing so well. And then the second topic of discussion, the content of the film itself, specifically how evil Jean Grey is. Because holy crap, people are just like in denial. And that's a big problem with the film. But now talking about the box office. This film is bonkers in terms of the box office. It is like... It looks like it's tracking more than Endgame. It might have already reached $1 billion at the box office globally. What did it only came out this week? Like, holy crap.
It's been 5 days or something. 5 or 6 days since it's been out.
I mean, I'm kind of shocked that this film is doing so well. And it raises many questions about the nature of superhero films, the box office, and all things. And so this meme kind of encapsulates some of the questions where it's like, compare Spider-Man with Supergirl.
Okay, well, it is Spider-Man. Let's be real. It is Spider-Man compared to Supergirl. Now, just as characters, as comic book characters and stuff like that, think of the popularity of Supergirl compared to the popularity of Spider-Man.
Yeah,
so there is that element straight off the bat that there is going to be a difference there. Even if, let's say, Spider-Man was on the same shit level of a movie as Supergirl was, Spider-Man still doubles at least doubles Supergirl's box office in the opening weekend.
But that also raises a question, Rhino. It's like, there's no reality where like Supergirl is as popular a character as Spider-Man. So why did they make Supergirl? Is this like the second film in this new DC universe of James Gunn? Right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was like Superman was the lead, and then they followed up with Supergirl.
Yeah.
What are they thinking? Are they insane? It needed to be Superman, Batman. Like, that's the only sane approach to launch the DC universe. You lead with your two biggest hitters. And once they establish themselves and people are invested in this new universe, then you can start to do the side characters.
I would argue more than that, Shad, that if it's DC we're talking about, it needs to be the Trinity. Those are your three big tentpoles for the entire DC universe. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. They should have nailed that right out of the gate before. Arguably, Zack Snyder should have done the exact same thing for the Snyderverse. It probably would have worked a little bit better than what we got, but I'm not going to get into all of that, okay? And I will say, I am a little surprised about this too, because let's be honest, Tom Holland's Spider-Man has worked really well in Avengers movies, but his own trilogies have been kind of tepid. No Way Home notwithstanding, but when you look at his, Homecoming and the first two that he had, they were kind of okay. They weren't the worst by far. That was the Amazing Spider-Man movies, which was not Andrew Garfield's fault, by the way. Yes. But the last one, No Way Home, like that was really, really propped up by the cameos and Garfield and Maguire's Spider-Man's coming in. And I'll be honest, the only reason I even saw that movie, because I wanted to see more of Alfred Molina's Doc Ock. Just one more time to see my favorite super villain of all time in live action by his best representation. But man, I got to tell you, I was a little surprised, but not terribly so, because from everything that I've heard, this sounds like it did absolutely bangers. There was more right with it than there was wrong with it. And frankly, that's not something we've gotten from the MCU in the past several years. It's really been the opposite of that.
And just on this one, the people saying they think it's 722, not 126. I've also seen it reported that the global thing for Supergirl was 200 million. And I'd want to check, but her the full run, it was not 726. It was not 700.
I can check that right now.
Yeah, right. If you'd be able to double check, I appreciate that. I think her total box office run was 200 million for Superman.
Okay, based on Box Office Mojo, their worldwide run is 125.8 million.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's bad. This is accurate. It was like 126 is basically that rounding up.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
So that's right.
That's terrible. Wow, that is bad.
126 million entire run.
Holy, that's.
Would you describe that as a little messy, James Gunn?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh, that is embarrassingly bad. Yes, an absolute disaster. Wow. But
yeah, so Spider-Man, obviously, under any circumstances, I think is always going to do better than Supergirl.
Mm-hmm.
Under any circumstances. The thing is with this is, yes, I feel like everybody's gone and seen Spider-Man, and I don't want to sound cruel or anything, even myself included in this, sort of had your beer goggles on, and you sort of saw the web slinging and the combat, and it looked awesome and it looked really good. For me, as soon as I watched EFAP, my mind changed a little bit on it. It came down in stature.
Well, no. We'll talk about the content of the film in the next segment, because I'm actually there with you. I was meh on the film, and then I started thinking about it, and it just got worse. And EFAP was bringing up the same things, and I was like, yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. But there is content to discuss about it. And the thing is, though, then it brings us back to this about if the film actually isn't great, what are people enjoying about it? Because there is something
exactly what I just mentioned: the web slinging, the combat, the fact that it's Spider-Man doing those things.
Mm-hmm.
We did get to see him go up against, Scorpion.
That's what I'm noticing. That's what I'm noticing.
That's what people are getting the enjoyment out of this.
And don't discount him palling around with Hulk and Punisher, which I'd never thought Spider-Man and Punisher would be palling around in a movie together. I kind of hoped, and I do like mostly the current version of Punisher. So him hanging out with Tom Holland Tom Holland Spider-Man is just it's a little enticing. I'm not going to lie. The clips I've seen look really good, but I think it's a lot of elements from a lot of stuff, and it's making people kind of gloss over what's bad about it.
Well, it makes sense because Punisher was introduced in Spider-Man.
Right, I know.
No, yeah.
But
I wanted this movie.
Other spider media and street level media where he just kind of shows up. He's a presence that's there that doesn't always get shown. I'm still pissed he didn't show up in the final battle of Endgame. But that's just me.
I wanted this entire movie to be the opening montage of this movie.
Yeah. The marketing was very effective.
I wanted him to go up against the Sinister Six or so. Like, fucking, can we start introducing, and him just going up against some fucking awesome Spider-Man villains?
Yeah,
do we really have to expand it out to this kind of level of story too? Like, we finally got to a point at the end of the last one, No Way Home, where it is just him. It's Spider-Man. Let's just be and we get the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man going up against all these fucking awesome villains and stuff like this in a montage at the beginning of the movie to catch us up to modern day, basically.
Well, there is that, but like, which nerd is not going to want to see Spider-Man versus the Hulk? That is in the film, and I think that alone is going to just latch onto so many people that love Spider-Man for any amount of time or reason that like Spider-Man versus the Hulk. I got to see it, because here's the thing, right? The marketing was very good. Those trailers baited people in, and you're right, Rhino, that in actual fact it kind of was subverted a bit, because the trailers promised a decent amount of content that was not delivered on in the film. But the fact that this film had such a monstrous opening box office, right? That is a success, not based on positive word of mouth. Word of mouth wasn't even circulating for the opening weekend to be as monstrous as it was. That is so many people saying, I'm rocking up to the theaters without hearing the reviews or anything like that. I just need to see this film. And so that's must be the main thing that a lot of people have latched onto.
Well, Shad,
that Williams.
How many people really enjoyed the last Spider-Man movie?
I think a lot of people. I didn't. I was one of the few people.
That's fair enough. I'm just saying, majority of people actually thought the last Spider-Man movie was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So
like the cameos,
it leads
it had
into
the three, exactly. I was going to get to that.
It leads into people then wanting to come and see the next iteration of that story.
Yeah,
and it's the same. It's exactly what happened with the MCU from Phase 1, moving up to Infinity War and Endgame, and building up, and people enjoying the next iteration and the next iteration and the next iteration. They might have had problems with it. They might have had problems with this. They might have had problems with that. But they generally liked each next iteration going forward. When you get some enjoyment out of something like Spider-Man No Way Home, and at the end of that movie, you finally get to a point where it's like, oh, good, maybe we're going to get some Spider-Man instead of Spider-Boy or, Iron Boy or whatever the fuck you wanted to reference him as. And now we're actually getting that, but I feel like we got that in the first part of the movie, but then he's kind of going back to wanting to be back where he was. Sorry.
Yeah, they under-delivered on what they were promising in this film. But what you're saying, I agree with, where each previous MCU Spidey film, right? They weren't. I enjoyed Homecoming. I thought that was actually a pretty good film.
Homecoming was okay.
I hated Far From Home.
Yep,
and I hated No Way Home. But I was one of the few that hated No Way Home. No Way Home was very popular, though, chat are reporting that a lot of people are now bashing it because they see the flaws that I was pointing out when it first came out. Look at my review. I was so pissed off of that film, and they robbed Uncle Ben to give the line to Aunt May, and Spider-Man was an idiot. Doctor Strange was stupid, was massive retard. But there are so many problems with that film. But the thing is, though, there was a lot of things people loved, especially. There's almost like a redemption arc for Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, seeing the three Spider-Men come together. And the film was very, very successful. And so even though I've got my problems with them, seems generally speaking, each one of those films have been more positively received. And even if not positively received, not enough damage was done to the character to make people, disconnected from it and check out. Like if you look at a lot of the other Marvel characters, so much damage has been done to them that they're now ruined, right? And it's like, I have no interest in nearly any of them. You've made Thor a clown, Iron Man is dead, Captain America was brushed off to the side, and you've replaced him with not Captain America, Falcon, and I don't have interest in seeing Falcon as Captain America. Maybe if it was Falcon, I would, right? And then you have these replacements that people don't care about, like the Thunderbolts, which are now the new Avengers. As a Thunderbolts fan and a new Avengers fan from the comics, you gave us none of that. I'm just pissed off with the film. And so you've alienated nearly all the interest you had in the MCU. But this is an example of a film that what it can do when you haven't alienated the fan base and people are still invested in the character. And you have 3 films to kind of build up. And there was a decent amount of a gap, so much so that people seems like they needed to know the next leg of the story. They saw where No Way Home ended off. Spider-Man on his own, no one remembers him. How are they going to deal with it? Got to go watch it. And holy crap, people have shown up for this film. We're talking Endgame numbers, maybe even more. This is one of the most explosive box office, and it does raise the question about this meme that I've been sharing: superhero fatigue. Okay, to quote James Gunn in this thing. There is no comic book movie fatigue, only bad comic book movies, says James Gunn. And it's like, you're proving that true, James, with your own films.
Oh, you're right, James, because my gosh, like, he probably didn't expect to be the one putting out the bad comic book movies, though.
Right.
You know who's really happy, though, right now this summer? Tom Holland and Zendaya's bank accounts, because they're both in the 2 biggest blockbusters of the summer in theaters at the same time. Guys, back when I was a kid, when I was younger and a teenager, like this really didn't happen that often.
For me, Zendaya is pushed in way too much. Way too much. And I can't.
And she's going to be in Dune at the end of the year.
Like
one of the worst miscasts of all time.
Yeah, I was so hoping that Peter Parker was going to move past this fake MJ and give us the real Mary Jane. They're not doing that. They're doubling down completely on this MJ. Not happy about that. But the thing is, though,
Shad, I gotta tell you, man. Sorry to interrupt.
Hmm.
I don't think as long as isn't Tom Holland and Zendaya dating in real life?
They're married.
No, they're married.
They're married.
Okay, yeah, she's not going nowhere.
I know.
She's here for eternity.
Oh yeah, if Tom Holland is Spider-Man, he only wants to be kissing Zendaya, and so I reckon that might have been a discussion. Like, what if we bring in the real MJ and I have to kiss someone who's not my wife? And like, some actors actually do have issues with that. Chris Hemsworth won't kiss any other woman in a film because he's married, and I'm like, respect, but there are ways that you can work around that. Sometimes they bring in stunt doubles for the kiss and stuff. Because I'm like, this is not MJ. Zendaya, like, this is not Mary Jane. Get rid of her. But they kept her, and look, that's a small problem I have with them. There are much larger problems. But like what Rhino was saying, on a surface level, this is delivering for a lot of people. And I'm actually seeing a bit of a trend in this now. My 3 recent examples where the actual content, the story, isn't not only oftentimes not that great, oftentimes they're bad to atrocious, but it delivers enough of the flashy lights, surface level, the base amount that people kind of want to be able to enjoy it, that people are able to enjoy it, and therefore it's being successful. My 3 examples, well, Christopher Nolan's Odyssey, that is an ass film, doing very well. House of the Dragon, season 3, which I'm watching and reviewing with Gary on Nerdrotic. I'll talk about that in a sec. And now Spider-Man. And so my experience that actually kind of I can relate to what I think other people are, I guess, interacting with Spider-Man and the Odyssey is my interaction with House of the Dragon season 3. Most of the plot is retarded now. They've gone off the rails. There's still some good moments. This last episode had some actually pretty good moments.
I love some moments in this. The
dragon
fight in this last episode was awesome.
Dude, that was actually peak, right?
And fucking what's the dragon's name?
Sunfire?
His dragon showing up.
Yeah. We don't want to give too many spoilers, but that was great, right?
Laughing.
That was
great.
All the moments with Alicent and Rhaenyra are absolutely, totally retarded. They have forced in a character to have far more prominence, and she's constantly super Messiah. There are massive problems with this film. But the thing is, though, I am enjoying House of the Dragon season 3 because not only are there actually some good plot moments that give you a big moment, and this last episode had them, but also the surface level stuff. Holy crap. The dragons look amazing. The swords are phenomenal. The fantasy world is just so cool. We're talking about like the castles and the cities and the fortresses. We saw the Eyrie just looking brilliant here. The outfits are amazing. And so just because this is hitting my kind of buttons in regards to my love for fantasy, give me cool swords. Give me awesome castles and an authentic looking medieval world and dragons. I can kind of just enjoy the visual delight, even if the story is crap. And that's actually been my experience with a couple of things where it depends on what my expectations are and standards are. And my point of comparison here are classic martial arts Jackie Chan films, or even just martial art films going back. Jackie Chan is not the best actor, okay? In actual fact, I watched all the dubs, and so the dubs are terrible, right? They're never matching up with the thing. The acting is bad, but holy crap, the fight scenes are amazing. And then the plots are usually stupid as well. And so it's a movie with a bad plot, with terrible acting, but holy crap, I love him because the thing that I want out of him, that expectation is satisfied so well. The fight scenes are so much fun and they're so brilliant that that expectation is satisfied so well that I can overlook the other flaws and they don't bother me. And so when I get what I want out of a film, even if there's a lot of bad in it, I can ignore it. And I think a lot of people are experiencing. So sometimes a lot of them are not even noticing the bad in Spider-Man Brand New Day. And there's a lot bad because the web scene, it's pretty good. The fighting scene, you get to see Spidey as Spidey. He's wearing the mask a lot. Spider-Man versus Hulk. I mean, on a surface level, it's delivering a lot of people want. And so people seem to be loving the film. Loving it. And do you reckon I'm on the money with what's happening with that? That it's just the surface level is enough for people and they're not thinking about it too deeply?
I think you're right on the money with it, and that's kind of where I am. And that's one reason why so much stuff between the end of Endgame and now, to me, has just not felt so empty. Like it did so much wrong, or it tried to do something with stuff that nobody cared about. They tried to introduce way too much that no one really even cared. But I think Spider-Man is a little like Superman, Batman, Dragon Ball in a way where you can just kind of drop these characters into they're so well known and their arcs are all well known. You can just kind of drop them into a narrative at some random point in the middle of their existence, and it just roll with it. And it doesn't have to have the big everlasting Avenger style consequences. You do occasionally have those stories when it comes to Spider-Man, but for the most part, the pulp roots really work best for a character like Spider-Man. You just drop him in, villain of the week. Maybe throw in a few of his friends. Remember his first cartoon was Spider-Man and his amazing friends. It's not like Spider-Man needed Iceman and Firestar to help, but it padded things out a little bit. And man, the 90s Spider-Man animated show was rife with cameos, crossovers, all kinds of stuff. And it didn't always.
I loved him.
Have an arc. You can just have a fun little Spider-Man story with a few Spider-Man pals and throw it out there, and it works. And I think they really hit that groove with this particular movie, and that's a good thing to me. But I'm with Rhino on the fact that this is something that they do in a lot of the superhero media. We never really see the movies where they're in their prime, their whole rogues gallery is existing and can just show up out of nowhere. They did that a lot with Spider-Verse. The Spider-Verse very much had that element to it. And we've never seen that with most of like Batman, Superman, Spider-Man stuff. It's always a villain origin story or multiple villains or this is the first time I think we've gotten a really good comic book movie that felt like it kind of came out of the comics. It could just be a random monthly comic adventure. It starts and you didn't have to read. You didn't have to read last month's issue. You don't have to read next month's issue.
Yeah. This is the crazy thing about the character of Spider-Man is that you could actually do. You know what they did for like phase 1, 2, 3, all the way up till from Iron Man 1 to Infinity War and Endgame. You could do that, but just with Spider-Man.
Oh, there are enough characters in there. Yeah,
this is the thing in regards to what you were saying about like seeing all the origin stories and stuff like this. Why can't we just get a Spider universe where it's just Spider-Man up against his fucking gallery of fucking villains, and the story just continues moving forward?
Sony have wanted to do that, but they lost the plot because they want their own MCU, and that's why we got Kraven the Hunter, which is a Spider-Man villain, Venom, Spider-Man villain, Morbius, Spider-Man villain. They wanted their own cinematic universe with the Spider-Man Rogues Gallery, and what makes Spider-Man popular is Spider-Man. That's the core, that's the heart, and his Rogues Gallery, the villains, even the side characters, everything. Those are complements. They're not the core. You can't have individual films on most of those other side characters. It's not going to work. They tried it. It failed. Obviously, they didn't figure that out. But if they focus on the core of Spider-Man, just keep making, like, as this one is proving, you don't even need great films. Just films that are on the surface level good enough, and they can be crazy successful. And people show up because they love the character. And I think one of the things that, I don't think Spider-Man as a character was necessarily ruined. He was damaged if you're paying attention. Like, there are some things he does, right? But is not at the core destroyed. One of the other characters entirely assassinated, and that's the next topic of conversation, Jean Grey. They have utterly annihilated any investment with that version of Jean Grey. But Spider-Man himself still, for the most part, felt like the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man trying to do the right thing, and sacrificing his own, comforts and lives and everything, to achieve that ideal he follows. With great power comes great responsibility. If you don't subvert that, there can be a lot of crap in the film, but I think Spider-Man fans are still going to show up because they love Spider-Man. Don't subvert it. They've done that in so many other things. You think this is not like a hard bar to pass, but they've failed on it so much. Like, you'd think, let's make a film about a beloved character. All we need to do is not ruin the character, make the character be who they are, and the film be successful. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Let's make him an old depressed man and then subvert it and replace him. Let's do Luke Skywalker in Star Wars. Let's subvert him and ruin that character and subvert. And there's a list. You can go through the list of these beloved, often male characters that are just ruined and destroyed, betraying the core of who they are because, well, they want to be replaced, right? Or the people want to replace them with something more diverse. But they didn't do that with this one. And that's why there could be a discussion on how woke is this film. There are some elements underlining, but they are very subtle. They're not as overt. And for the most part, Spider-Man gets to be Spider-Man, and that's not going to alienate the core fan base. In fact, if you satisfy that enough, Spider-Man fans are going to be happy with it. And that's why this film, right? I do not hate this film as much as I hate No Way Home or Far From Home. Because Peter Parker is not the biggest idiot in the world. He doesn't cause his own problems. He's acting a bit more like Spider-Man. And that's the core of what I want out of a Spider-Man film. So even though, like, on a technical level, this new one, Brand New Day, might actually be technically worse than the other films. I dislike those other films more for what they were saying about Spider-Man. Which brings us to the next topic, the content of the film. Gentlemen, we need to talk about the biggest problem with Spider-Man Brand New Day. There are a lot of problems. But the biggest problem, without a doubt, is this character right here, Jean Grey.
Yep.
This is a problem.
You mean the sympathetic, she didn't do anything wrong villain?
That's what they're trying to
It wasn't her fault. She was traumatized. She has reasons.
Sad that she did it.
I'm kind of glad I'm not a Jean Grey fan, because if I was, this probably would piss me off. But I got over this character a long time ago.
She was never super kind of the main, fun character in the X-Men. It was Wolverine. Well, we just be honest. Wolverine has always been the most popular character in the X-Men. Other characters had their appeal. Jean Grey was one of the more stale characters. Holy crap, there's something interesting going on. But outside of Dark Phoenix, she was usually like the calm, moral core, and that's an important character, but not necessarily one that people are going to love the most amongst all the others. And she was also the love interest between Scott and Wolverine, and so that, she was a useful character for the narrative, but not a main character that people showed up for. Okay, I
actually just don't understand why they introduced this character into a Sony movie and into this movie specifically. Like, doesn't Disney own the X-Men?
Yeah, they do.
So yeah, I know that they get a percentage of this movie, and obviously they were okay with putting her into this movie. I just don't understand.
Well, they want to introduce the X-Men. This is a soft kind of pilot for the X-Men series.
It's a bad introduction.
It's a bad one. They're not doing good, because we need to break down how bad this is. But they're, with all the flaws of her morality and what she does, which we will get to, the other problem is that there's no real strong actual Spider-Man villain that is like properly antagonizing to Peter. And in fact, they want to subvert it. Like, the movie is trying to tell you she wasn't really the villain all along. She was, but because of that, the film actually struggles from having a true villain that the movie is presenting as the real villain, that is has either connection to the proper Spider-Man universe storyline character, and they had some like proper Spider-Man villains that they just brushed to the side. Scorpion, they said they were going to give you a Scorpion. No, he's like barely in it now. Tombstone, barely in it. Oh, the Hand? You think the Hand is this big, dangerous organization? No, they're a bunch of teenagers.
I did like that fight at the end.
The fight at the end was fun. Like some of the fights were fun.
The fight,
but yeah, what was justifying those fights ended up being very weak. And that's one of the bigger flaws of the film. And so that's an issue already with having Jean Grey as the primary antagonist.
Well, for me, they completely assassinated Jean Grey when she, like, I know that there's more than just this, but when she went inside the Hulk's head and turned the Hulk into basically fucking going psycho, when she can be inside fucking Bruce Banner's head and know how he feels about fucking killing people as the Hulk, and then goes and fucking basically makes him do that, and even after that, he's traumatized by that.
Yeah,
and he gets locked up. He gets locked up and fucking, what did they? Yeah. There's some line that gets spouted off that he's being fucking locked up or something like this, and it's like, Dude, everybody knows exactly what happened. Spider-Man knows what happened.
Yeah.
Spider-Man should go and be in there and speaking to him and fucking like, dude, this wasn't you. It was Jean. Like, get it. Don't worry. Like, it's fine. Lie to him, tell him he didn't kill anyone. I don't know. Fucking, but that's just so stupid to me.
That's just one of the evil things she does. We're gonna go through it, and we'll try and remember all the evil things she does in this film and listen to why she's such an evil, despicable character now. But even before then, before we get to listing all the evils, and what she does to Bruce is really bad, but not the worst, right? There are some unbelievably psychotic, evil things she does. Reeling it back, even beginning the entire premise of the film is flawed because they mess up the power scaling her superpowers when I say drastic level, the entire film is ruined because they don't understand this, right? So Jean's power, predominantly through the film for the most part, is that she's a mind controller. She can jump into other people's consciousnesses and control them wholly and completely. Like, they have no resistance. And Spider-Man's spider sense is the only thing an only person that can stop her from doing this. Okay, she can do it to anyone else, including Bruce Banner. All right, and has full, complete control over them. That is an insanely powerful ability, more than people realize. So much so that the thing that she is trying to achieve in the film, the entire film is built around this premise where she is trying to sneak into and you obviously know spoilers in this discussion. We're spoiling the hell out of it. So she's trying to sneak into the Department of Damage Control's buildings to save her sister that she thinks is locked up in a place called VMAX. And to do that, she's like head jumping into people's heads to drive in tanks through the buildings, set off bombs, control. When Jean, you know the guy that you're after. All you have to do is head jump into his head. And there was another aspect of his power I forgot to mention. When she jumps into people's heads, she can read their minds and know their thoughts and history to almost a full level. Like her ability to mind rape people and take away their autonomy and then their privacy and learn everything about them is insane. Okay,
but I also didn't understand though the distance thing on that ability. Right? Like, I mean, these telepaths as mutants, it's not necessarily a distance thing. It's more a strength thing. Like Cerebro obviously gives you the ability to connect with everybody at the same time. So yes, there is an element of, restriction on that ability. But like, she's sitting in a park and like, there's a person that's 30 yards away or something like that. And she's like, I want to jump into that person. She can't jump into them because they're too far away. So her sister shows her to jump to this person that's closer. And then from this person, jump to that person, that person, that person, that person. That doesn't make sense to me. That actually doesn't make any sense to me when it comes to a telepath.
Yeah, you'd think it would be limited to her proximity, not the proximity of the person she jumps into, because they don't have the power. But that's what the film does.
It's so stupid. But, like, the more I thought about the more I was like, that's a retarded ability in the fact that you got to jump from person to person to person, as opposed to just, we've never seen Charles have to do that.
No.
Ever seen Charles have to do that? And Jean's more powerful than Charles.
Well, yes, depending on what power she's locking into, because when her Dark Phoenix thing is locked away, she's usually more depicted as having telekinesis, being able to move objects with her mind, and her telepathy is not fully realized until Dark Phoenix stuff. But this film kind of reverses that. Her main power is telepathy, and she only starts to get the telekinesis at the end of the film, which is like, all right, that's a bit odd from my own exposure to the X-Men. Maybe I don't know about the full extent of her powers. I'm not an expert on the X-Men. But in regards to the mind control one, this comment is important because there is a Marvel property that is half MCU, half not, right? That understood the full devastating capacity of actual mind control is in Jessica Jones with Kilgrave's character. He is a character that can literally whatever he tells someone to do, they have to do it and fully control them without near any resistance. And she got Jessica Jones in her past. The comic book even goes darker, right? In the comic book, when Jessica Jones tries to confront him, they're called the Purple Man. he actually tells her to strip in front of him and then basically abuses her, right? And she can't stop it. Like, it gets pretty dark. And so this guy is one of the most, like, David Tennant plays him as the villain, and he is such a scary villain with this mind control power. It's done really sadistically, and it implies the full level of abuse that this power can achieve, where you're stripping people of their autonomy. Okay, no good person is ever going to do that to anyone else apart from in the most extreme circumstances or with consent. Okay, you are literally taking away a person's free will, overtaking their body and manipulating them to do anything you want. Now, I think there might be some ways to try and use that as a superhero, where you see someone about to get hit by a car, they don't see it, you mind jump into their body to move them out of the car and save their life. Okay, I could say under that circumstances, most people would say, I'm okay with you having mind raped me in that situation because you saved my life. You know, I think there are situations where you could justify it barely as a superhero, because it's still a problem. Taking over someone's body without their approval or permission is bad. We can just say, like, this is a really bad thing to do, and only in the most extreme circumstances would people be okay with that. Okay, Jean Grey and her sister had shown that they are doing this willy-nilly, just for fun, to practice their powers. And it's like, already we're in problematic territory, okay? But then Jean starts to do the most psychotic things with this. But when I say most psychotic things, she is a murderous psychopath. And the people trying to defend this are insane. And there are people, no joke, trying to defend it. The defense for Jean Grey in this is that, remember, she's trying to save her sister's life from VMAX. And so she's traumatized. She's trying to stop bad people. Therefore, you can... I'm not sure if they're trying to say what she did was justified, because you have to be a real psycho to say it was justified. But even if they say you can understand why she was pushed to that level, I'm like, no. Because let's go through some of the things that Jean Grey does when she starts just mind raping people, taking over their autonomy, right? She, in the beginning of the film, takes over the mind of an old lady who is a janitor in a Department of Damage Control's building. And by controlling her, she either gets a bomb or makes a bomb, puts it in an ATV, like armored, transport vehicle, puts a bomb in it, controls the old lady to then get in the car, and her intent is to drive it into another Department of Damage Control building and make it blow up. And Spider-Man sees her trying out on the way and then fights to try and stop her. And she almost gets so many people killed just in the car chase. Now the main point that if anyone trying to defend this, right, is insane, is that they're trying to say that she didn't actually get nearly anyone killed apart from people who deserved it. I'm like, bullcrap. There's a couple of people that looks like they did die, but then people say, we didn't see them die. Show us the body. And they're like, are you insane? She threw someone who she was mind controlling in front of a car, and they got hit hard by that car. I'm sorry. It's not unreasonable for me to conclude that person is dead, but people are saying, no, they probably survived. Bullcrap. But even if we were to say, let's pretend they survived, that is still attempted murder. And in my mind, that's just as bad. I don't care if her attempt to murder someone failed. Her attempt to murder someone makes it just as bad. Yeah. But people are no joke trying to excuse it by saying they didn't actually die, so it's not as bad. Bull crap! Get out of that! She tried to murder someone!
That was some Batman Arkham Knight logic right there. No, they didn't get hit with the Batmobile. They got shocked and thrown 15 feet into some soft concrete. They're perfectly alive.
But also, too, we don't know where we actually sit with Jean Grey in regards to where she is. Like, has she been to Charles's school? Did Charles teach her that, like, using our powers against the humans might, like, depending on how we use our powers, will depend on how they perceive us and all this kind of thing. Like, has she gone through that?
I don't think so. The context is that she is not with Xavier yet. But, like, just this comment is like, no, you're right. Like, the mind control janitor driving the tank definitely didn't try to kill any of the cops in those cars. Lol. Oh, yeah, exactly. Of course, she tried to kill the cops. And think about the Department of Defense, she thinks that they stole her sister, so therefore everyone who works for the Department of Defense is it's okay to kill. They're on the chopping block. They're bad. It's like, no, it's like a janitor. There's just random workers in the building. Your intent is to plant a bomb in the building, blow it up, and kill multiple people. And these can be just normal, friendly, good people going to work, just like accountants, pencil pushers, desk receptionists, whatever. They're all on the chopping block because there's one supposedly bad person. And here's the thing: the actual bad person, right, that the film is trying to say is the bad person, all the actions of Gina and her sister shows that he was justified in locking them up. They're mind raping people, taking their autonomy. Like, that's a crime. You deserve to be locked up for that. Okay. But no, because he stole the sister, everyone is, it's okay for Jean to try and murder anyone in her way.
Well, at the end of the day, the bad guy in this movie is the DODC.
Yeah. Like, thank you,
like
Chad.
There's no actual really. There's the head guy of the at that department. What's it called? Department of what?
Damage control.
Damage control. Thank you. There's that guy, but really, at the end of the day, like, you know, the main villain isn't even really Scorpion because she mind raped him too.
She did.
So you know, and the bad guy isn't the Hulk. She mind rapes him too. Like. Yep. The bad guy isn't her. It's the DODC that justified her actions. That's the moral of this.
That's what they're trying to say.
Moral of this movie.
But thank you, Chad, for pointing out. Rescue mission doesn't mean killing random people is justified. 100%.
Hold up. I'm having a thought here, Shad. Hold on.
Okay.
Damage control. This was a government
set up by Tony Stark.
Okay.
Wasn't it set up by Tony Stark?
I don't think so. Sure. I can't remember.
Well, you got to remember, these Hollywood writers, they view things through a much more of an activist lens than we usually do.
I was gonna get
so there. Here's what I'm thinking. What other government institution do these leftist Hollywood writers currently think is okay to go up against, regardless of what level of force it is? Now, I know damage control probably was not an ICE allegory, but it's same tactics with a renamed target, maybe.
So hang on.
I might be reaching here.
I want to jump on, like, mind rape. Come on, no one said that when Xavier did it. Xavier didn't abuse it to this level of extreme evil. Okay, and he usually did it to try and save people's lives. Okay, and so Xavier was an example of someone who could mind control people and actually use it in some measure of responsibility and common sense. Jean is a psychopathic villain who's doing it to anyone at will, whatever, and trying to murder people while she's in control of them. Unambiguously, inarguably, it's blatant. That's what she does, and we're going to go even through more examples.
A great difference is when Charles mind fucks, what's his name? Sabretooth in which X-Men's that? I think it's 1. X-Men 1. And Toad's there as well, and they both come snap out, like, you know, fucking Charles put Sabretooth's hand around fucking Eric's throat. Could have just fucking killed him right then and there.
Yes, exactly. Like, he's using it with restraint, and even reluctance, it seems like. And so there's a chasm of difference, and I think it's perfectly appropriate to call what she is doing mind rape, especially with how she abuses. When you want to talk about consent, she jumps into MJ's body and has her sexually assault Peter as a result. Now, you might say Peter was into it. He wouldn't have been into it if he knew who was really controlling MJ at that time. Therefore, that does qualify as sexual assault. And then she gets MJ to kiss Peter against her consent, okay? And so this is all breaching consent in extreme ways. And then she throws MJ off a building to murder her. I think this qualifies as mind rape. I'm definitely.
I think that qualifies as psychotic too, from Jean Grey. Like, she's fucking psycho.
Evil.
We've seen this kind of thing from Jean Grey in the comics. Look what she did to Iceman.
Oh, when she makes him gay.
The worst crime of all.
So there's precedent.
That comic is so arrogant. Like, excuse me, don't you know you're gay? Oh, I am.
Poor Bobby. He's so confused. Like, what's happening right now?
Despite the fact that the character had been around for a long time and never once it has been indicated as gay. It's like, oh well, I mean, the only logical reason, he
was a pussy hound all those years. It was known for it, right up there with Johnny Storm.
That's why it was so logical to say that. Oh, I guess she just turned him gay when she was inside of his mind. It seems like the only logical conclusion,
right? Right. So one of the other defenses of this is actually kind of wild, and this is where you do see some connections with feminism and woke ideology, because it begs the question: who could write a character like this and think that this is morally acceptable? Oftentimes, have you heard like what feminists think are okay to do against men out of like, social justice thing? Like I've seen feminists cheer like a woman who chopped off her husband's penis because she was upset. And they're like, that is wonderful, awesome, stick it to the patriarchy. And it's like, that is one of the most psycho evil things a person can do. And feminists cheered about it, right? And I've seen feminists and psychos on the left, look, we saw them celebrate Charlie Kirk's murder, where they think like to oppose what they perceive as an injustice or evil, that evil is perfectly justified in doing to achieve your goals. And that's the philosophy I'm seeing here with Jean Grey. She's an abuse victim, abused by, a man that stole her sister. So therefore, scorched earth, perfectly justified sister, stick it to him, you go girl, save your sister. And I'm sorry, that's psychotic, okay? Well-balanced, rational, moral people don't believe or act that way, but I have seen real-world equivalents of people of similar moral kind of views and beliefs where they think insane, just evil is justified if you're a victim or you're pushing forward something that you justified. And, innocent people get caught in the crossfire. Oh, that was their own fault for being in the way, I guess. It's like, it's insane. But this vindictive attitude does exist. And I wonder if that, again, the people writing this is like, she got her sister kidnapped. She has been abused. And so it just makes sense that she goes scorched earth. In fact, I feel like that's empowering. Imagine, because I would like to, the entitlement of bad behavior because they feel like they're, the victim is actually more in feminist kind of coded media more than you would think. Think of She-Hulk, where She-Hulk, she has to deal with way more, what did she say to Hulk? Those words
she knows how to deal with her anger because she has to deal with it infinitely more than he does because she's a woman.
Yeah.
And blah, blah, blah. Feminine rage, as if we care.
Yes, exactly. But no, that was the thing. They saw that as justified feminine rage for men catcalling people or in office or like that, more so than Bruce Banner nearly committing or trying to commit suicide. That he had not gone through more than her. When the contrast is insane. It's like, but they feel justified in their victimhood status, and that feels, it feels like that's them using it to justify bad behavior. Am I wrong in seeing a connection with that philosophy here? Maybe. I'm just seeing it. I'm seeing a connection.
Well, because I know the writers of the movie were men, or at least what passes for men in Hollywood these days. But that ideology is still infested in a lot of the writers' rooms, and in a lot of them. They're probably so browbeaten by this in Hollywood that it's second nature now to them. They're gravitating towards female villain, sympathetic. Which I have to remember this, Shad. If I had a nickel for every time the MCU gave us a ginger villain who had some kind of trauma to justify her acts of villainy and homicide, I'd have 2 nickels, which is not a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. Because remember, what did we call her? Freckle Jesus in
oh my god, yes, they made a terrorist psychopath, like sympathetic, saying, we kind of understand. No, she's trying to murder people. She's a terrorist, insane psychopath. This was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV series. Utterly insane. But there is a trend in these stories where they think some of the most evil psychopaths around are either sympathetic or understand, or you can let them off easy because of either past trauma or something bad happening to them. And no, okay, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, actually. past trauma and you being a victim or even abused, right, does not justify you doing bad, evil things to other people. It can justify you feeling depressed and sad and that you need help and sympathy. I get that, but it doesn't justify you trying to murder other people, especially innocent people.
But in these things, they need to fade the lines between good and evil. So that's why you get something like this, where she's completely justified in what she's doing, the actions that she's taking, because, you know, oh, she was hard done by. Her sister was taken. Oh my God, that justifies her allowing to kill all these innocent people.
Right? But no joke, people on Twitter, they're actively trying to defend her. Okay? And that's bonkers to me. She's just morally complex, right? She's gone through a lot of, it's understandable, we can forgive her and all that stuff. And like, she needs to receive proper punishment for the crimes that she committed, attempted murder, flat, and what even looks like full-blown murder in a lot of instances. She deserves to be locked up for life. It is insane. But it's like, you know, it's have sympathy, be understanding. And there's a lot of echoes to another MCU character that, yes, mind raped an entire town, took away their freedom and autonomy, and people were just like, you know, you freeing them from you taking over their mind.
Oh, they'll never know what they sacrificed.
They'll never know what you sacrificed for them when you decided to not mind rape them and abuse them and things like that. It's just like, what is that? What is going on? Yeah, she is the next.
It's actually the same thing. Jean Grey is exactly the same.
All right.
And still, it'd be very refreshing if we had some time. You know, it'd be really also kind of edgy and memorable if we have the guy go, "Shut up, bitch! Sit down! All right, stop it! I'm going to push back on this nonsense." Like, you have one guy push back on them once, on this nonsense once, and have them be a good guy for it. Not, oh, this guy's obviously a villain misogynist.
I know, right?
Have a guy to say, you know what? Sit down. Let me tell you what for.
Like, you could have had this kind of moral complexity in Jean Grey without showing her actually harming other people, or even trying to come up with the justification for why she should be forgiven for harming the people that she did. Like, this is not that hard of a stretch. Just because someone is an antagonist does not necessarily mean they have to be villainous or an irredeemable villain. But, you know, that's kind of where she is now in the story. So if, God forbid, they ever come across them again, what is Peter going to have that reaction that Strange did towards Wanda, where it says, well, I know you did the bad thing in the past, but we got to move on to the next plot now and forget all that. You know?
Well, see, that's the same thing as when Jean Grey's sister Sarah gets taken by the DODC, because okay, think about this for a second. They're sitting there in the park, they're practicing their powers, and Sarah's teaching her how to use her powers properly and all of this kind of thing. And then she goes off to get some ice cream or something, I don't know, and then fucking she gets arrested. So we're supposed to believe that all the people that arrested her weren't surveilling them at all. They just rocked up, knew exactly where to find their target, took their target, because wouldn't they take Jean as well in that instance? And then Jean runs towards her, yelling out, "Sarah," like this. And then Sarah stops her and jumps into her and then makes her walk away.
Yeah, like there was so much, like, she was sitting with the sister while they were mind raping people. But
I'm supposed to believe that the DODC. I'm supposed to believe that the DODC wasn't there watching them, surveilling them, waiting for their opportunity to strike and take her down. They just showed up in that moment, and they weren't there before. It's that bad when you actually think about it.
It just gets worse the more you think about it. But people are unironically trying to defend this, and two big defenses have been floating around Twitter, and this is one of them, right? Where this is wild. Attempted murder isn't the same as murder. It's like, why? I'm sorry. To me, they're morally equivalent. Like, one has worse results.
Murder?
Yes. Okay. Exactly. You lost the argument because you just admitted by law she did not kill anyone. I actually think she did, but even if she didn't, it's just as bad in my mind. That was the original point. She did terrible things, yes, but she's not a murderer. Yes, she is. When someone attempts cold-blooded, premeditated murder, they're a murderer.
So
Okay?
hang on, are we supposed to believe that when the bomb exploded inside the tank that crashed into the that didn't kill anyone?
That didn't kill.
That didn't kill anyone.
It was a non-lethal bomb.
That didn't kill anyone. Are these people retarded? Did these people watch the same movie? What the fuck is wrong with you? How do you justify that in your own fucking head for a fucking movie?
I know. As well,
And the hilarious thing is, Spider-Man's bouncing around for a lot of the movie with one of the many anti-heroes who actually does, whose whole thing is he kills people.
Well, that comes to the next argument people make. Whataboutism. They try and say, why isn't Spider-Man having, like, do you have a problem with Frank Castle killing people? I was like, all right, show us when Frank Castle kills innocent people, and I would. Okay, the whole thing about the Punisher is that he kills bad people who deserve it. That's the context. So that's the first thing. But here's another whataboutism that they've tried to say in regards to this film. And this is one is funny. It's like, so when Spider-Man threw Scorpion hard into a police car, knowing he was just a human with no powers that made him a murderer at the heart, because luckily he survived. It's like, guys, Spider-Man literally lost control of his mind. He was not rationally thinking, I'm going to try and murder someone. The whole context is that the black thing goes over his eyes and he lost rational thought and he became an unthinking animal lashing out in aggression. Okay, that's different from someone knowingly taking over someone's mind and then trying to murder them. And they're in full control. This is not equivalent in any way. But these people think this is some kind of gotcha. It's like
it would be like if Bruce Banner turned back from being the Hulk and said, "How many motherfuckers did I kill? I'm so happy that I killed all these motherfuckers." People. Like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is the difference. Again, good point about Bruce Banner and the Hulk. Bruce Banner is not in control when he's in Hulk. Even Hulk isn't fully in control because he's full rage monster and is not actually thinking about it. And you see some moments where Hulk's personality kind of realizes what he did. And even Hulk was like, I went too far. So even Hulk has some rational thought there. But we understand that there's a contextual difference here when someone becomes a rage monster animal without rational thought. It's not equivalent. And Spider-Man was still going to take more accountability for the person he potentially injured when he took down Scorpion than Jean Grey is even thinking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I want to point out that the Punisher pays for his actions, like he pays for it. Yeah. He's not a celebrated hero alongside everyone else. He's an outcast. Other heroes try to take him down usually. So even though he dedicates himself to absolutely black and white, no innocence. He only takes out mobsters and everything. He's still depicted as not a villain, but like an anti-hero. And he's actually a criminal. He's actually a criminal.
And so Jean Grey does that to begin with, right? Driving the car into the damage control building, setting off the bomb. Potential. It seems like someone must have. I saw the explosion. That looked like people died. Okay. She mind raped a lot of people, eventually jumping into Scorpion's mind. And so she uses Scorpion to break out. And this was just like desperate. We need Scorpion in the film somehow. And so Spider-Man has to fight Scorpion. And it's actually Jean Grey. How many people is she killing in the process in the background? We don't know. She taunts Peter by jumping into different people's minds and then taunts him by, doing bad things to MJ. These are all actions of sadistic villainy. Okay. Peter Parker has to try and get MJ before Jean Grey, the psychopath, does. Gets there. On the way back, turns out Jean Grey did get into her head and then does what we talked about. Sexually assaults Peter and MJ, getting him to kiss, getting MJ to kiss Peter, then trying to murder MJ by throwing her off a building. And in the taunting scene where it's like, come and catch me, she literally jumps into some guy's head and throws him into oncoming traffic into a car.
Show me the body.
Why didn't his spider sense go off and allow him to kind of like grab that guy before he hit the car? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to talk over you. Why didn't his spider sense like allow him to get that guy out of the way? Did he not see the car coming? Was his spider sense on vacation for that moment? Or
no, he read the script and knew there was going to be no body, so he knew like he didn't have to do anything about it. There's no body.
It is crazy. The level of evil.
I gave this movie a 7 out of 10. It's actually dropped to just like a mid-5 to me now. Yeah. Like the story loses so much the more I think about it. Like I said, I watched EFAP and that didn't help. But you know, when the truth is the truth, it's like, you know, it's kind of like just, you know, snapping on Star Wars really quickly. People always say, "Oh, can't you just sit there and enjoy it? Why do you have to destroy my enjoyment of it?" Well, when I'm talking the truth and telling you things that are actually happening that you see as the truth as well, and that destroys your enjoyment of it, well, then it's not me destroying your enjoyment of it. It's your understanding of what you're actually seeing now that's now destroying your enjoyment of it. And that's exactly what happened with me and EFAP with this movie. Like, I liked it. I thought it was really good. I thought it was great. Like, I didn't think it was actually great. I thought it was just good. I gave it a 7.
Also, how come our enjoyment never counts for anything? Like,
yeah, right.
Hey, this Star Wars movie sucks. It's not like Star Wars should be. Well, why are you trying to ruin my enjoyment? What about my enjoyment, bitch?
Yeah, I'm not trying to destroy your enjoyment. But if what I'm saying is actually destroying your enjoyment, then there must be some truth in what I'm saying, right?
Yep, 100%. 100%.
Absolutely. Like, why? Why let someone else's critique ruin your enjoyment? It's kind of like your enjoyment of the film is contingent on someone else's opinion. That's kind of strange.
Well, no,
it's not like in the sense like with this EFAP thing, right? Like me liking Spider-Man more than I actually did like it at the end of the day because of my understanding of what I was actually seeing. And I like, this is where I say, like, yeah, okay, EFAP's rundown of this movie did destroy some of my enjoyment of it. Do I blame EFAP for that? No.
I'm like, good, because here's the thing. Thinking about films is fun. I enjoy looking at, what's justified, what's not, and everything. And if the film gets worse upon thinking about it, all right, it deserves that. But guess what? There are other films that get better when you think about it and break them down. One of the biggest experience I had that is with the film Megamind. I didn't like Megamind when I watched it, but then I was like thinking about it, and I was like, oh, okay, that was all right. That was all right. I watched it again, paying attention to those things I noticed, and I was like, wow, I like this more. And now it's like one of my favorite films. Megamind is phenomenal with the subtext and the clever.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's really, really good. And another one, Project Hail Mary. The more I think about that film, the better it gets. Project Hail Mary is like a 10 out of 10 for me now.
Good too, yeah.
It just gets better. Okay.
Yeah. I had the same reaction with How to Train Your Dragon, the original one. I watched it with my kids, and I'm like, this is a pretty bog standard kids, children's movie. It's not that bad. The more and more I watched it over time, the more I'm like, this is a modern classic. To where extent now when the first flight scene with him and Toothless,
so good,
goosebumps every time. I cannot get over it.
And the music in How to Train Your Dragon is
big part of it.
Top tier. Like, and so yes, films, your opinion of films can change after you watch them based on, introspection and analysis. And No Way Home. Oh, sorry, this new one. Brand New Day. I was meh on it. And the more I think it's just getting worse and worse and worse. This film is I'm in like terrible territory. And this is me understanding that the service level, there were things I did enjoy in it. But a core thing for me is that I get so much satisfaction when the things that I enjoy, especially the action, is justified and reinforced by the choice of the characters, the plot, and everything. And when it's really justified, it validates the action, the heroic moments, and you really feel it on an emotional level more. But when you think of, and the reverse happens, when those action scenes are undermined by thinking about the context, it dies for me. I feel nothing watching it as a result. And so I'm thinking about all these action moments. I mean, the fight with Spider-Man in the hand, that was really fun, cool action. But then I think, Jean Grey is mind raping them all and not trying to murder Spider-Man and all this. I was like, it's not good, man. No. and like Spider-Man versus the Hulk. That's one of the most fun kind of setups. Yeah, we want to see Spider-Man versus the Hulk. Jean Grey is ruining Bruce's Banner's entire life.
Yeah.
Right.
And she knows it. That's the thing. The fact that she's in his head and she knows his life and she knows his fears and everything, and basically just still does exactly that.
And that is the context. Yeah, that is the context for the fight scene. I don't want Spider-Man to win. I don't want the fight to even happen now because holy crap, it's like what is going on is actually vile, horrifying, and terrible. And that is one of the most fun moments.
I would like to know that if people would still justify the character's actions if it was Charles Xavier that was doing that. If Charles Xavier jumped into Bruce Banner's head, knew exactly how he felt and everything, still turned him into the Hulk and still made him rage out and kill people without him wanting or knowing, how would people react against Charles Xavier in that sense? Would he be fucking an evil piece of shit for doing that?
You know, well, I think more people would be willing.
Can
to
we
call
justify it because he was trying to save his brother? Like
I would call him out, and I think more people would because he's a man. But you know what make it worse? If it was Charles Xavier doing it to a woman and taking over her mind, then the feminists would really have a problem with it. Okay, but because Jean Grey is a woman doing it to men and then other women, the defense for her that so many people are trying to do is embarrassing, the amount that they're trying to defend just blatantly evil actions by this character. And I think like a lot of it, I think is because people do want to love the film still. They watched it, they enjoyed it, there were fun moments. And then I think some people, when they watch something that they really, really liked, they want to find reasons to justify it. And then they end up defending it unreasonably because they still want to like it. Or I'm like, no, even if there was stuff I liked in it, if it's undermined by the context and think about it further, like it's dead to me. Because I've seen the reverse happen. Things can get better when you think about it. This film is like, you can almost look at nearly anything in the film and it starts to fall apart. Okay. Like drastically. So this whole arc, right, that Jean Grey goes through could have been avoided. She didn't need to risk anyone's life. She still need to mind rape people. But if she jumped into the head of the Department of Damage Control's thing, read his thoughts, problem solved. She did not need to put so many people's lives at risk. She is a monumental retard in what she is doing in this film. When she, like, the conflict shouldn't even exist according to her powers. She could figure it out, get what she wants without any difficulty. But instead, she decides to try and murder heaps of people in the process. And
the thing is she, and instead of telling Peter her story or anything, she goes after Peter, goes after Spy. Like, okay, your first action as opposed to communication is violence. Good to know.
Yeah.
Now,
this is a
Shad,
scene in the movie. Oh, sorry, go, John.
If I may postulate something,
yes.
If I'm hired by Marvel, the MCU, to write the upcoming X-Men movies, right? This actually works. And I'll tell you why. Because it establishes the heel turn into Dark Phoenix way later. So let's say you get a couple of X-Men movies under your belt, right? And God, we've done Dark Phoenix so many times. I don't want them to do it a third time. But think with me here. Think with me. She's kind of essentially conscripted into the X-Men as a sort of, the only guy who can possibly keep Jean Grey under control is this other telepath, Charles Xavier. So put her under the care, maybe do that thing they mentioned in the other movies where it's like, go in, do a little suppress lobotomy to suppress her villainous urges the way she was. And then you get a few movies in and you're teasing each one that Jean is like slowly starting to slip back into the villainous side of her, is fighting to get out. And then you do an actual good Dark Phoenix story where it gets back out, because there was almost no buildup for either version of that particular movie incarnation. But I'm not going to give the writers that much credit.
Exactly, John. You're far smarter than them, because like the only way to redeem Jean Grey is to make it all her personality and actions is Dark Phoenix that needs to be suppressed and rewritten. That's the only way you could possibly come it out. But the problem why they're not going to do that is that it is shown in the context of the film. Spider-Man thinks she did nothing wrong. He didn't blame her at the end of the day. I would even
go so far as to have Peter Parker come in, do a little cameo in one of the X-Men movies where he's like, oh, holy shit, there's Jean Grey. She's a psycho. Watch out. And she doesn't remember him. And he's like, whoa, hold up. Why does she remember? Because that's a little indication that Charles went in there and did his little mental lobotomy.
It's already ruined. The narrative that the film is trying to say is that Jean did nothing wrong and Spider-Man doesn't hold her accountable at all, and she was the victim all along. That's literally what the film is saying, and that's what that means. That's what the writers think and what Marvel thinks and what they're going to be doing with their character in the future. That is telling us that is the Jean Grey. This is not evil Dark Phoenix, and that's the Jean Grey that they're going to move in with the X-Men.
Well, this is what we have to do, Shad. We have to think about what would have been better ideas, because we're not given better ideas by Hollywood because they have a skewed version of morality in there. They don't know what is right from wrong. They don't know it's true heroism. And that's why I ended up having to write my own hero.
That's right. Likewise, we can write our own stuff, and it's going to be so much better. And so the one of the, like, in context of where she was moving, we mentioned how, you know, she did that with the thing with MJ and everything, and then she does that stuff with the Hulk, which is just destroys his character. And Peter Parker then eventually finds out that what really happened. Anyway, undermines it. And I was saying that you can't, like, so many things in the film. This is one of, like, it was a small part, but it was really, really bad. And again, like, just do you remember this scene in the film?
Oh,
this is Yelena, the new Black Widow, forcing Peter Parker into a naked bath with her to have a meeting with her. And I'm like, everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people just like, reverse the roles. Imagine if this was a male character doing this to a female character. It would be problematic as hell. This is sexual assault. But I can't believe that this got through and is in the film. It's just like,
I don't even care about the whole reversing the roles. I don't even care about the whole gender reversal thing. This is her office.
Yeah,
we can't in a Marvel movie. We can't just have a fucking desk and a fucking normal office.
Yeah,
we gotta have it fucking in a sauna or a spa.
The implication, they do not imply that she is wearing her underwear or anything like that. The implication that she is fully naked, forcing a man into a room where she is naked, and then forces him to get naked to get the help he needs. This is like unbelievably problematic. And they're playing this off like, oh, isn't she so quirky? It's just so fun to joke. It's like, this is like nearly as bad as like Wonder Woman raping a guy in Wonder Woman 84, and the people not realizing it, thinking that it was like, wasn't that funny and stuff like that. It's like, you people are on another planet. They do not see the problematic nature of women abusing or sexually assaulting men at all. Okay? Because they're blind to it. They're hypersensitive to any problematic thing against a woman, but if it's done against a man, that's the double standard, the hypocrisy. Oh, women can sexually assault men all the time. They can just expose their naked bodies to other men. It's just, what the hell?
And the last line that she says in that, you're not completely anonymous anymore. I've seen your belly button.
Oh my gosh. Oh my
fuck,
gosh.
man.
It could be worse. It could have been like that page where Black Cat took a look at Spider-Man's face and puked on his dick.
That's kind of base, though. She
saw how this is kind of normal.
She saw how young he was, and he's
always in vicinity of hot chicks that are kind of ambiguously not into him, and he's always trying to navigate that a little bit. I mean, it's, you know,
yeah.
What's the word for it? Safe horny. But I mean, they couldn't give us like a little titillation on her end, right? Like we didn't see anything. We got some hot shoulder action, guys.
But Spider-Man gets stripped down right to his underwear, you know. Oh my gosh. Now, there are a lot of other problems, like Spider-Man's whole magic AI, and he literally builds a DNA suppressor that can turn off superpowers just out of thin air, just bull craps it and then 3D prints it. It's just like, what the hell? That is world-breaking technology, okay? Utterly to insane levels. Like, he could sell that to the government for trillions of dollars. Insane.
I hate when they do this in comics and shows where it's like, hey,
bull crap. Yeah. They bull crap magic create stuff. Oh, he's really smart. He's not that freaking smart. And the type of technology and resources you would need, like, that's the type of technology I would expect Tony Stark could develop with a year, like research, diving into it and everything like that. Not make it in a friggin' afternoon. Holy crap.
And doesn't it kind of that technology would come into play when the mutants eventually come around, right?
Oh yeah, of course. I think that's what they might be leading it into.
And that kind of bleeds away some of the tension too, because part of the whole aspect of being a mutant is you can't control your powers or your mutation, except for this device that we've got that, you know, the mutants being in the Marvel universe in general is really kind of a problem. And it always has been. because people treat the mutants one way, but they treat the other superheroes with superpowers a completely different way. And I know they've explored that in some of the comics, but on a base level, just the broad strokes of that narrative really doesn't work. Of course, it doesn't help that the writers never step away from the civil rights allegory of the X-Men. The X-Men used to go on adventures into space. They used to fight dinosaurs. They used to fight supervillains of the week. They used to do all kinds of stuff. But no, we've got to keep jerking off this freaking civil rights allegory for the last 30 years. Please tell another X-Men story.
Oh, yes. Now, in regards to
and also, it's
14 films of this.
It's perfectly fine to fear and hate mutants. It's logical. You'd be weird if you didn't, because they could actually kill you.
Well, there's a lot of
by
cases
accident,
just flat out abusing their powers and getting people killed.
Well, there was that one story. I don't know how recent it was, but that this one kid is like, "Where did everybody go? I'm just finding like clothes on the ground. What the hell? My mom and dad are kind of gone, but their clothes are still here." And it took Wolverine to go over there and say, "Kid, you've been killing everybody with your powers. Everyone's is dead." He's like, "What?" Yeah. So they're not just gone; they're dead. They're dead. You've been killing them. That's how dangerous mutants are in this world. Yeah. So yeah, it's very understandable why you should at least be afraid of mutants and have concerns.
You would think some reasonable safety measures might not be inappropriate. Like just saying, all right, if you got powers, we need to know what they are, what they do, how dangerous they are. I mean, like, I'll be interested to see what people who are against are against guns and want gun control would on the mutant question, because there are mutants that have like bazookas out of their eyeballs. And so yeah, like, you think no one is allowed guns? Now, I'm like, I believe in gun control, and I think even people who have destructive powers could use them appropriately, but maybe just vet them. I think vetting them, seeing where they are, seeing what the level, how much control. There's some nuance that you could add to it, right? Okay, but Spider-Man.
What did you think of the head of the DODC being like a Cecil character from Invincible? Like he had weapons made that can stop fucking Spider-Man's webs. He had he'd hired the Hand after Peter basically defeated them.
He almost did nothing wrong. Almost. The big moral question is if he did murder Jean Grey's sister. And if he did, obviously, murderer, terrible person. But I wonder, like, no one seems to be, like, all the desperate, justification they're trying to give to Jean Grey, okay, don't seem to be, like, the slightest kind of question you could apply is, like, was it an accident? Was he legitimately trying to figure out the powers to save lives in this world full of crazy, powerful villains that you need to figure out new tech and stuff like that, like Cecil from Invincible? And so, okay, I'm not saying the abuse is justified, but does that contextualize things? And was he just trying to push her powers a bit further to figure out how they worked so she doesn't mind rape anyone else? And then she died and it was an accidental thing and is really remorseful or regretful about it. He didn't seem remorseful, but there are those questions about that, because this person legitimately was taking over people's minds without their permission, committing crimes with their powers, and her arrest seemed justified based on what she was doing. Okay. Yeah. And so you can almost understand where it's coming from. Not saying I agree with it, but he's actually got more understandable context for his actions than Jean Grey does by far. But the movie doesn't want to acknowledge that. He's the evil bad guy. Don't think about it. Just trust us. Don't think about it, guys. Where I'm like, yeah, Punisher should have just shot Jean Grey, but Spider-Man saved her life. He took the bullet for her because she did nothing wrong. And it's like, no, Peter.
I do think it's hilarious that you have a character who starred in a movie with the Punisher and you've got a higher body count than the Punisher.
Yeah. In that movie specifically. Yeah. So Jean Grey, just like if we look at Jean Grey alone, she destroys this film. She utterly destroys, she annihilates this film. And that's not even looking at the many other problems. There are a lot of other problems with it. You can't escape. She's the primary antagonist through the whole film. You can't escape her presence in it. And it is inexcusable. You can't explain this. You can't justify it. It's just like, wow. And the fact that Spider-Man, again, he's the one trying to say that she didn't kill anyone, and he basically is saying it's all right, is like that. No, I'm not there. I'm not there with you, Pete. There. Nah. And to me, yeah, the movie's basically ruined when you think about stuff like that. It's like, moo.
You know what they could have done, Shad? They could have done this almost exact same plot with a different Spider-Man villain, that being the Chameleon. Now,
possibly, yeah.
You would have had to change a couple of things around. You wouldn't have even had to hire a like high dollar actor to be the villain, because the Chameleon could be anyone, and you could have led to some really good moments of him not being able to know who to trust. It probably would have felt a little too much like Mysterio, the movie with Mysterio in it, where he didn't know what to trust and what to see. But like a clever writer probably could have figured it out.
And by the way, I'm not saying Spider-Man wouldn't have taken the bullet for her. I'm saying Spider-Man forgiving her, saying she did nothing wrong. I'm like, nah. And I'm with Punisher that she was threatening the lives of how many thousands of people in her vicinity. And again, like, that's like, how many people died when she did that? She froze them. And so people driving, people, walking near a ledge or anything like that, right? Holding anything dangerous when she froze them. People died when she did that. Okay. And
but then the Punisher apologizes for doing the wrong
thing. I know, right? The Punisher feels
thing.
Really bad. I get that he feels bad about accidentally shooting. He didn't accidentally shoot Peter. Peter jumped in the way of it, right? Punisher was trying to save everyone's life by killing.
Well, he doesn't apologize for shooting Peter. He apologizes for doing the wrong thing, which he never did the wrong thing.
No, I'm in his side. She needed to die. Thousands of people's lives were in the balance in that moment, and killing her seemed to be the only way to save everyone else, not counting the people that would have died in the moment they got frozen. And so, yeah. But the whole context of the movie is that Punisher was feeling bad for it. He was in the wrong. He shouldn't have tried to do it. And I'm like, no. But that's where we are at with Spider-Man, and to me, the film is a bit of a disaster.
It's still some good redeeming factors.
They're fun things, but they're undermined for me. They're ruined for me when you think about it.
I agree. I'm with you.
Yeah. But hey, gentlemen, let's get to those super chats. Start wrapping up. Nathan Cassidy, our wonderful modern chat 49, says, did you happen to see the Bethesda protest, or as I like to call it, a long overdue market correction? Well, I haven't. I haven't either.
My favorite part of that was they said, we're the ones who make your games. We're the ones who make your favorite franchise. And it's like, no. The people who are no longer there were the ones that made the games we enjoy. You, modern Bethesda, you're responsible for what? Fallout 4, Fallout 76, and Starfield? That's what your legacy is. And to quote our favorite potato, you're boring.
What's Starfield? That's some sort of video game or something. No one talks about it.
Oh, right. Yeah. What is Starfield now?
But I saw those protests. Yeah, they look like an Antifa gathering more than anything else. It's just a bunch of freak shows. It's kind of marching down saying, was it devs over profit and things. They have all these little cringy protest signs and stuff like that. And I'm just laughing at them because these are all just completely evil people. These are all just like soy boys. There's like some trans people in there angry about getting fired and everything. It's like, I'm pretty sure that once they've been fired, games will improve. I'm pretty sure now that they've been ousted, things will get better.
Yeah. Yes. $2 from a name I'm not going to try and pronounce, but thank you. Says, House of the Dragon is on a tripe, boring, mindless, and predictable. There are problems. A
buddy of mine said that show was really fun to watch if you look at it like a political comedy, as if Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton became president.
The show's actually got some funny meta stuff going on that I don't think the writers really are aware of, because in half of this season they've been trying to make Rhaenyra, which is the woman who wants to be queen, sympathetic, that all her stupid actions, and a lot of them understandable, when in context, no, she's just terrible. She's really, really, really dumb and bad and does stupid things. And so many of the problems are of her own making. But now we're up to the point in the story where the writers knowingly need her to make these big mistakes. And so part of it is that you could watch House of the Dragon as almost an allegory of why women shouldn't be kings or be in positions of power, because they destroy the kingdom for the most stupid reasons, often vain misunderstandings and all that stuff. And the show doesn't want to make women look bad, but they can't avoid the context of certain things that they do. And they really do they make men look bad as well, but it's just like, some of it is unintentional and they can't avoid it. But yeah, look, House of the Dragon, on a surface level, I'm still able to enjoy it because, man, the swords look great, the dragons look great, the castles look great. I don't need much in that genre to really love if those things are done well. But there are stupid things in it, really stupid. I'm there with you. Nathan Cassidy for 1999 says, one criticism of Homecoming back in the day was it would have been a better Spider-Man movie without Tony Stark. I feel brand new something suffers from, because I think he's referring to Brand New Day, suffers from this 10 times as there's a great Spider-Man movie dragged down to a good one by the MCU. Yeah, I did not like No Way Home or Far From Home, but Homecoming I did enjoy. Grey Spirit for 6 says, have you seen the Satan Spawn rescue robot?
No.
I think he's talking about that new robot they created to rescue people, but for some reason it's shaped like a centaur and they gave it the head of a ball statue. Good God. It looks like that creature from that horror movie that I never watched, but I've seen the creature. That it looks horrific. It looks like a creature out of mythology for some reason. I don't know why they decided to shape it like a centaur. It was crazy.
McSkittles, member 15 months. Thank you for being a member so long, man. We appreciate the support. He says the modern audience would blame Medusa for everything that happened to her.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I would need to learn more about the story of Medusa. I know that there are some abuse things in the past and stuff. But Mark of Reality becomes
a kind of which Medusa are you talking about?
Yeah, I know, because they're alternate.
Original Medusa was just a monster, and then we have Ovid. Ovid is the one that kind of brought to light the whole. She was sexually assaulted by Poseidon or something like that. And then she was turned to a monster by Athena, because Ovid makes Athena a real bitch. Athena is really cool in Greek mythology. However, in Ovid, who was Roman, when he talks about Athena / Minerva, she becomes a real bitch. I don't know what happens to her. I don't know what the hell, but she's like, how dare you get raped in my temple? I'm a monster.
Oh, man, Greek mythology is wild. Oh, especially what the gods do. Holy crap. Macariv for 10 says, hey, Shad, I finally finished Darling in the Franxx. That's the the butt piloting anime with the controls of the girls' butts.
Oh, yeah.
One. It is such a weird anime, but then
Chad
it gets it locks down and the fan service all but disappears, and it has this unbelievably base message. And you know what I forgot to mention about Darling in the Franxx when we had our larger discussion, and it's now a clip on the channel. The enemy is diversity. It's an alien hive mind that wants to make all things equal and bring perfect diversity in everything. That's no joke. The primary villain in Darling in the Franxx. It is one of the most unexpectedly based animes I've ever seen, with this message about traditional relationships and that men and women need to get together, be married and have children and stuff like that, from the most blatantly like unashamedly fan service. I know, actually there were ones that go further I've heard of, but this is damn blatant, right? I mean, like, so in your face, but again, being so unexpectedly based. He says, did you finish it? Yes, I did finish it. They say I liked it, but some people didn't like the ending. It could have been more satisfying. To be honest, I heard the manga is different. Yeah, I heard the same thing too. Look, because I wasn't expecting a different ending, I thought the ending was okay. It gets a little kind of crazy, but they tried to give them their happy ending finally at the end, and it's kind of like a bit of a bone. But I can see why some people would be pissed off with it. Watch it at your own peril. One of the most unexpectedly based animes ever made. Darling in the Franxx.
In other words, Shad approved. 2 thumbs up from Shad.
I don't approve of the shameless fan service.
3 thumbs up from Shad.
But I approve of the overall message. And one of the things, right, because I went in knowing nothing, and like the fan service was like, all right, I'm not into it. But the thing is, though, there was enough intrigue. Like the sci-fi setting is actually one of those interesting sci-fi settings that I was like, I needed to know the answer. What are the aliens? Where are they coming from? It has those kind of sci-fi questions that are hanging in the air that you want to know the conclusion to, and that kept me going. And then I was like, well, this has ended up being really, really based unexpectedly. It's just like, anime is such a mixed bag. Sometimes you can't judge it by the cover or things, and then sometimes you're just like, it gets way too far. What are you sharing there, Rhino? What is
it's just a funny story about Spider-Man. A screening of Spider-Man Brand New Day was evacuated after an audience member unleashed a Hulk-sized fart.
Like
the smell was so unbearable that moviegoers had to leave the theater in disgust.
I'm sus on that. I'm calling that needs to be like a fart bomb. Only those actual fart bombs that you can buy get that bad that spreads so far and hangs around and doesn't go away.
Maybe yeah.
It's hard for me to believe that just a natural fart could be that.
As he set up a Hulk-sized fart. How convenient for a headline.
Yeah.
Do we know where the quartering was when this happened?
I guess
if that was it was the quartering, it wouldn't just be a fart; it'd be a full-blown dump.
Yeah. But what are the oranges for?
We don't know. We don't know.
In the corner. Anyway, I thought it was funny.
Yeah. We got McSkittles in the chat. $5 says, so now that you have a gun license, are you going to do a gun, sword, and other such weapon reviews? Probably not. Because I don't own any firearms, but I can legally shoot them.
You should do one where you try to like get one guy to have the samurai sword, and the other guy has the gun, and you try to cut the bullet in half.
Yeah, we still have strong restrictions on the type of gun. So this is a long arms license, so I can get rifles and stuff.
Like a musket, get a good old school musket.
Chad,
that's a
have
separate
you ever
license.
reviewed the Gunblade from Final Fantasy VIII?
Oh hell yeah, yeah. Of course I have.
I must have missed that one. Sorry.
Yeah, it's an older video, but absolutely. And then we got lemon rations for $7.99. Jean was way too evil. Yes, we agree. Where her redemption doesn't fit her crime. Better if she stayed a delinquent teen who selfishly used her powers for herself. Yeah.
Would have made more sense.
Instead of a psychopathic, murderer. Oh, but where's the bodies? She attempted murderer. Don't even go there. Nathan Cassidy again. Thank you, man. 499 says, all I think this proves is people still love Spider-Man. Yeah. Like really love Spider-Man, but it doesn't disprove that Spider-Man superheroes are on the way out. Look, here's the thing. To me, superheroes are a timeless genre. I've loved them my whole life. And if you give me good superhero content, I'm showing up. And so I've never really bought into this superhero fatigue, because I will never get superhero fatigue when it's good. I have loved this genre my whole life, and I'll love it my whole life. And so if there are enough people out there like me, superhero fatigue doesn't actually exist. Mm-hmm. It is bad movie fatigue. That is what it actually is. And yeah, like when we're given like crumbs of some things that we like which, Brand New Day, the fan base is still there. People still love Spider-Man, like you're saying, Nathan. Mario Trujillo, $5 says, most fans have been over Jean Grey for the last 2 decades at this point. Looks like the X-Men are getting shafted again. It's not a good start. Not a good start.
I'm overseeing Charles get killed, which is going to happen again.
Who's ready for the 5th Charles Xavier death on screen?
Yeah, that's right.
He's going to die more than Sean Bean at this point.
Yeah.
Random unbranded commenter for $2 says, who else was shocked the villain was black in 2026? I wasn't. I mean, look, there seems to be a trend of the web. You'll still get black villains now and then, but it does seem like, look, in Rings of Power season 1, the goblins were, let's just call them conspicuously pale, all right? And I would not care one way or the other, but the left are the ones who pushed the narrative that there was some weird connection between orcs and black people. And I'm like, I never saw that. If you're seeing something like that, I'm thinking that's saying more about you than me. But sometimes, yeah. Sometimes.
As mayor of Orc City, I officially declare that elf propaganda.
Yeah. Elf propaganda. I agree. Alexander Cross, 9081. But look, just on that other comment, like, what was the video? I think Halo. Halo. All the like disposable bad guys were like white guys with their heads shaved. Sometimes you just notice things and like you don't think that's by accident when you see like stuff like that, you know. Alexander Cross 9081 $5 says Jean Grey has done some really screwed up crap to Spider-Man before. Remember the time she body swapped him with Wolverine? Was that on purpose or an accident? I can't remember. But look, if it's like on purpose and intentional, my criticism would be the same. People think that like, oh, you were criticizing this thing. What about X other thing? And it's like, I didn't know about that X other thing. But if you bring it up and it's just as bad, same criticism. I mean, it doesn't excuse it. You're just pointing out another thing that's bad. And so, but sometimes it's a false equivalence, like the Charles Xavier stuff that again, show me an example where he does something equivalently bad as Jean Grey. And if you have an example, I would condemn it as well. But this is the recent one and it's terrible. And she's an awful villain. Starry Night Official $5 says, oh no, she chopped it off because she wanted to divorce. He wanted to divorce her. This is talking about the woman who chopped off the guy's junk. Maybe he had a reason to want to divorce her. Yeah, like that was psychopathic, right? And there were prominent feminists that celebrated it. Unbelievable. There was even a woman on The View that said that was the most wonderful thing she had heard. Disgusting. Grey Spirit 4/6 says, sound like Jean reasoning is similar to terrorists.
Yeah.
Yep. Albatross 4920 says, I still enjoyed the movie. Good for you. And I ain't even a Marvel diehard, but yeah, Jean made to be way too sadistic to be likable or sympathetic. Yeah. See, even people who like the film, they see it.
There's parts of it that I loved, like the web slinging was fantastic. The fights were excellent. The fact that we finally actually do get a Spider-Man out of this Spider-Man iteration was great. The shit talking while fighting was great. I feel like they could have probably gone a little bit harder, you know.
With his smart mouth. Yeah, Spider-Man should be a bigger smart mouth.
But was he still really good?
Was he finding jokes in this movie a little better? Because that is something the movies has never gotten right. That's always bugged me. Yeah. Spider-Man and his quips. And granted, I know we're a little over like Marvel humor now, but if you go back and watch the 90s animated show, man, there was stuff that had me sending my sides into orbit back then.
Spider-Man is such a smart mouth, and it's great. And they guess what? Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is all the crap that he gets. They probably did the closest one in terms of the smart mouth reaction. Like, remember the one where it's like, oh, you got a little knife, and he starts like, don't hurt me. And he starts teasing about the little knife stuff and things like that. Like, he had a smart mouth, the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, a bit more. There are other problems, but they got that one better in my mind. Random Unbreaded commentator says, people only defending her because she looks like a child. PDFs. I don't know. I don't think, is that because she was in Stranger Things and people saw her as a child? Because, there is this weird trend in my mind going on where people are trying to say that people who are young adults, we're talking between 16 to 25, right? They're all children. And I'm like, I mean, that whole age range can sometimes be hard to gauge. That's the whole thing where people get fooled into, going out with 16-year-olds because they look older. And then I know 25-year-olds that could pass for much younger. And so there's this age range that's a bit more ambiguous. But to say that she looks like a child, at best an adolescent, she might pass for a teenager, but not really. And so I'm not there with that one. And because it seems like, remember I was talking about this push to seem to infantilize everything? Well, it seems like what's going on now is this attempt to make or warp, right? That we saw it with Stellar Blade and other things like that, where people that have either they're adults, but they're in that age range that they could, potentially, look younger or 20 years old or something like that. It seems like bad actors are trying to latch onto that to then use it as a club to mark people as pedophiles and stuff like that. I'm like, she's an adult. I don't think she looks like, a child, at best a later age teenager. But that's the other thing where they're trying to push the age of adolescence, young adulthood into childhood status. And it's like, what reality do we live in? Are we saying like The Little Mermaid is like a pedophile, show message now because it has Prince Eric marrying a 16-year-old because Ariel is 16 in that film? Like, it's just like this weird modern thing where people, again, I don't know, is it an overcorrection because they're defensive about something? Are they trying to like protect themselves and deflect? Like, I don't know. It's just weird what's going on. Am I the only one seeing this stuff?
I see it all the time, especially in the anime spaces, and it is very strange. I get tired of seeing it, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. So, yeah. Betty Adams' name that I can't pronounce. Joel says, please address Jimothy. He is an icon of pluck. I don't know who that is. Sorry, don't know the context. And then Zimamaru, Attack on Titan is better than X-Men is a better X-Men than X-Men. I started Attack on Titan. I haven't finished it. It's one I want to finish. Okay. But I don't want spoilers. But yeah, so that's where I'm at with that.
I wouldn't equate Attack on Titan to X-Men at all. If anything, I would equate Code Geass closer to X-Men because that has an X-Men aspect to it. Because the main character has the power to control people with a look for a short period of time and very limited. And some of the creativity they have around that power is really good. It was probably my favorite anime, to be perfectly honest.
All righty, wrapping up. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. This has been heaps of fun. Loved it. Yeah. John, anything you want to mention while we're wrapping up? I know there's one. You're sharing it right here.
Guys, if you want a villain who is not a little ginger teenage girl, the villain in the Lionheart is a bloodthirsty emperor necromancer. Absolutely no ambiguity, no trauma whatsoever. He's bad, and I don't make any bones about that. And I have to send somebody who is equally counterpart to that and equal parts hero. And that is the story of the Lionheart, the icon of justice. I'm working still on getting the paperbacks done. We're still making some tweaks. We keep having issues with the spine for some reason, but rest assured they will be coming out before too long. But in the meantime, the ebook is only $4.99, and if you guys want no ambiguity whatsoever, pure, unadulterated, unapologetic heroism, I got what you need.
Awesome. And by just you mentioning the spine, people don't know, like, because you don't know, like, depending on how thick the book is when you're printing it, because the page thickness can be different depending on the paper stock you use and stuff like that. And so you've got to design the thickness of the spine in line with the cover. And if it's wrong, it rolls over. And look, and that was a pain.
Yeah, bring this up here. You can kind of see right here what I'm dealing with. This little bitty strip right there.
I know exactly what you're going through, man. It was a pain deal. And I got to get because they have calculators to try and determine how thick the spine is based on, an approximate. Yeah. And my artist wrong, you gotta go back. Yeah.
And my artist told me there is a thing that Amazon has called print drift, where there's kind of an expected things may change. It's on circumstances beyond the control. There is like a little drift that they kind of expect will happen with these kind of things. It might just be what it be, but we're trying to get it as close as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. One last final shout out. So this is from Alexander Cross. Good to see you, man. $5 says, I blame the fact that the comic writers are just as bad as the Hollywood writers, if not worse.
He's not wrong.
The current ones, my gosh. But hey, Lit Dev, anything you want to mention while we're signing off?
For now, just the usual morning nonsense plug. Every weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, morning nonsense. We go over from some fun stuff, some interesting stuff usually. Have some fun.
Awesome. And just in case no one dropped it, let's drop the link to John's book.
I'm not a mod. I can't drop it myself.
Should have told me. I happily mod you.
Sorry.
What's going on? I need to find you in chat, but you haven't. If you drop a comment in chat, I can easily quickly give you a mod spanner. But while we're doing that, Rhino, anything you want to mention, dude?
Thanks for the invite. Thanks for having me on. It was great conversation, great chat. I'm hating the fact that I'm actually kind of not liking Spider-Man as much as I did the first time I saw it. But yeah, you can catch me at Raging Rhino. I do a weekly show every Thursday here in Australia for us. I think it's every Wednesday night for everyone in the States. And you can catch me on Flashcast as well.
Legend.
Every weekend.
Lots of fun on the Flashcast.
It was great.
Yeah, I appear on there now and then, and Rhino's awesome. Flashcast is awesome. You guys are awesome. And John, you're now a mod as well. And so... appreciate you.
Hey,
the power.
Drop those links whenever you want, my friend. And everyone, thank you for joining us for another Culture Crusade. Be lots of fun. And as always, stay on watch.